Hello everyone! Join us as I just throw my drink all over my laptop because I am an absolute champion. Welcome to another stream. This time we have Chris. Last time it was me on my own and I held the fort down for about an hour and a half, which I thought was pretty good for basically chatting to an empty room.
I don't think I could waffle for an hour and a half. The pair of us combined can waffle for literally years continuously.
Didn't we peak at like 4 hours once?
I think we did, yeah. 4 hours seems pretty plausible.
Yeah, that's that was a bit much.
How long was our Land Rover making thingy that we did with Laurie? Because that felt like it went on a good
That was 3 and a bit, yeah.
Oh, really?
That's interesting.
I think you'll find you had Binks with you last time.
My monitoring, well, the video broke, but chat was running, which was a little bit confusing. So yes, we have obviously been working on the car today because it has been lovely outside, and as a result, we haven't probably got as much prepped as we should have. But other things have been happening since the last time I was on stream, and I was trying to, well, learn CAD. Yeah, 3 and a bit hours for the outro. Yes, thanks, Aid. So yes, last time I was designing a few bits and pieces and trying to work my way through FreeCAD and generally trying to not suck at FreeCAD, which was a bit of a stretch.
Did you succeed at not sucking? Because I never actually got around to watching that.
Off stream, yes.
Okay. But
And there
on
was
stream, the suck continued.
Yes.
Okay.
So there was significant problems, and I will show you one of the problems.
Did I?
Oh, that's not the that's not it at all. I need to close that. Center event version 2. That's not it either.
Today we listen to Aid's stream of consciousness as he tries to find something on his laptop.
Yes, pretty much.
For what it's worth, I found what I need on my computer. I found
Okay.
FreeCAD, and I have the thing in front of me, which actually the episode. Is it the episode that went live today?
Yes.
To patrons or to everyone? Okay, so the episode that just went live today, which if you're a good fan, obviously you've already seen, involves Aid lamenting repeated failures to make this panel correctly.
Yeah.
Which I think we actually touched on in the last stream that I was here for, because that's when it was filmed.
That was, yeah.
I'm sure we had one of these in.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I can't remember if that was 3rd or 4th time.
Yeah.
I think that was 3rd time. That was an additional new one. That also,
I think this was your 3rd attempt, if I remember right, this
That's
piece.
also wrong.
It does, the outer contour is right. I did actually check it against the car before I brought it in.
Okay.
The hole is in the wrong spot, which is obviously the problem.
Yes.
But this does fit the frame and everything on the car.
Okay. There might be another version between that
Yeah.
and the one that we finally decided was knackered. Yeah, that's absolutely possible.
Yeah, so after a month of initially saying we're going to 3D print one of these, we are now going to do the CAD for 3D printing one.
Because we've been busy, or, well, I've been playing...
Aid has been busy.
Playing with FreeCAD and then asking Jess to print for me a number of things. And so this is part of the problem. When it goes across onto here, will you go away? Just make them all
computers.
go away. And
Can you maximise that?
I'm working on it.
Okay. We're good at computers.
So
it's definitely not our actual jobs.
what I've forgotten is my mouse.
Okay, cool.
Which is why this is
Would you
going to
believe
be...
I have a mouse in here, if you'd
That'd
like
be
one?
really convenient just for the next 20-30 seconds whilst I show you how badly this went wrong.
It's going to take a minute to dig out, unfortunately. It's still a complete mess from the LAN party I was at recently.
It's okay, everybody is still watching, so it still counts towards
Okay,
watch time,
cool.
whilst they see you fumble through a
Right.
bag.
Oh no, we are actually back on the room cam now, so yeah, everyone's going to watch me fail to, like, extricate this USB lead from this nightmare.
If you really want to get close up.
of the gore that's going on in here, yeah.
Fortunately, it's mostly, in fact, if we could just go to...
There we go.
Yeah. Okay, yes, that is...
One mouse. I have no idea how good it is. It's literally just a spare one that I
It
found
is
around the house.
better than a track... Don't CAD on a trackpad, that's...
See, if you put FreeCAD in trackpad mode, it's actually alright on a trackpad. Ask me how I know.
I'm not sure I can get on with that. So... This is where we are at. This is what I tried... Well, no, this is what I did design.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I made.
Okay.
Would you like
Oh,
to
so this
see...
is one of your vent adapters?
Yes.
Okay.
Would you like to see what Cura made of that?
Oh god.
Oh, has Chris not seen this?
No,
No.
I haven't seen any of the STLs or any of the printed models.
Oh, so hang on, you're telling me your loyal fan base has watched more of your streams than you?
Yes.
Technically, yes.
I contribute to the show. I don't have to watch it as well. Jeez. This is going really quiet for a minute while Aid pokes around for something and while I start doing like the early first couple of steps of the CAD for the this panel that we're making.
Yeah, Kura is just kind of sat there at the moment going,
okay.
Sure, whatever.
Give it a minute.
Yep, I'll get there. I'll get there.
Yeah, it's written in Python. It's never going to be quick.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or at least chunks of it are.
Oh, brilliant. It loaded up on a completely different one than I
Oh, it's on the wrong screen. Okay.
Yep.
So...
Nope. That's actually correct.
Oh, did that one come out fine?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say that looked
No,
reasonable at a glance.
That's...
We'll get there. We were prepared for this, as usual.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah. Okay.
That.
Why... There's no hole. It doesn't have a hole in it.
Oh no, turn it around.
Seems fine.
Apart from it being 30mm too thick.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, I wasn't going to...
Because...
I don't know the dimensions that you were trying to make well enough to clock that.
Yeah.
I mean, the lack of a hole seems like a bit... Wait, what? No, okay, yeah, I see the issue. How did that happen?
So it's meant to look like that.
Yeah.
With a either 10 or 15mm recess in the back,
oh,
and
did
a 15mm protrusion in the front, and a hole going through the middle.
Right, I think you exported the wrong part of the model. So you see on the hierarchy on the left, you've got the body.
Yes.
You've got each of the successive steps building up the final piece.
Yes.
I reckon, because you can export any of them. So I reckon you probably exported at an earlier point in the model before you'd like lopped a bunch of volume out of it.
This is the one that I downloaded from Jess that I sent to her to print.
Oh, so Jess would have known where to look to export the right thing. Okay.
So Jess,
yeah, I mean, I can
Jess
believe
very
you making a
sensibly
mistake.
received this
Yes.
and dutifully printed it.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it is an immaculate print.
It's a beautiful print. It's a beautiful print that doesn't fit anything at all.
Have we got a close-up cam?
Yes,
is
we
the
start on
overhead?
this one over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, for anybody who wasn't on the last stream, A, why weren't you on the last stream? And B,
hello, it's me.
this is what we managed to print, which on the one hand was great because it tested the two things I needed to test. One was this tube
Yes.
fit onto, sorry, this outlet.
Oh, so you've got the dimensions right. At
fit
least.
onto
Okay.
this, which
Yeah.
it did, although not when you tuck a load of the material
Excellent.
in on the inside. And it also tested whether or not it fit onto the back of the air vent on our E36 mount. So, well, sorry, this is the E36 vent covered in high build primer spots from where it just erupted out of the can.
Just like
and
everything else on the car, really.
Yeah, pretty much. And I made the tolerances too tight.
Okay.
I didn't
Tolerancing is our art.
I didn't think that the foam was going to cause as much of a problem.
Yeah.
A, the foam absolutely caused that much of a problem.
It doesn't look like it would fit even without the foam, if I'm honest.
Oh no, it's a friction fit that way
Okay.
without the foam.
Right.
It is unfortunately not a friction fit
Upwards.
that way.
Yeah, okay.
I'll let you have a look.
Yeah,
and
fair
the
enough.
reason is very, very simple. Can you tell me what it is? Because we've got the vernier calipers and we measured last time. This is just
When you say last time, oh no, it goes. Like it does actually.
it thinks about it, but you
It
have to
kinda works.
really kind of fit it on
Yeah.
tight.
It's
So the big problem with that.
Are these slightly are they slightly convex? They don't look like it to the
No.
eye.
They are, well, they are compared to that print, because that print has only a 50mm gap, and that's 51.
Okay.
And it's because there is a very slight convex across most of the length.
Yeah.
Sorry, convex? Concave? No, convex, yes. Which was
Seems
problematic,
fine.
let's
No,
say.
I can't see how they ended up the wrong dimension. Like I don't.
I know how they ended up the wrong dimension.
I'm sure you do.
It's because I picked the numbers. I measured it, picked the numbers, put them in, and it printed exactly what I requested of it. Unfortunately, what I requested was garbage.
Yeah, but I mean, like, what's the root cause? Why did what you request? Like, why was that garbage?
Oh, it's because I measured badly.
Oh, right, literally was
Yes.
just I don't know how to use calipers. Excellent.
Yes, I put this very expertly across here, and twofold. One, I went to see when it pinched down, and that squeezed it smaller.
Okay.
Critical mistake.
That'll
And
do it.
also, these calipers actually seem to overread on the analog scale by a ½ mil.
And you've got digital calipers. Why did you use the analog scale?
Because I couldn't find a battery to put in
Oh
them.
my god.
I don't have an LR44. I didn't have an LR44 handy at the time.
Yeah, but
so
you've
I
learned
just
that
went,
lesson.
it'll be fine. It
Yeah.
was not fine. Actually, no. Do you know what? I tell a lie. These are now... Well, okay, that's very confusing. These now actually read to 0. So yeah, I can't even blame tools. It's simply ineptitude. But I did proper drawings.
Wow, I'm actually impressed.
I know.
Apparently the close-up cam exposure is better than that one, so if you hold those up, that should be pretty pretty legible, I
did
think.
proper real drawings and everything. And then so yeah, proper real life.
Please hold while we fix the camera.
Okay, don't worry about it. Okay.
If I angle it down, it should catch a little bit less light, which would be neat. There you go, yeah. It's just got a little bit less reflection
Beautiful.
off now. Yeah,
Said with love, I'm sure, Greg.
real life drawings. And so this is the interesting one. This drawing at the bottom has a 30mm gap in, because the plan was to cant this over because of where it needs to fit underneath the dash frame.
Yeah.
If it comes directly out, and it was going to be, nice. It was going to go from that shape and go down to the 50mm 50mm hole on the end. And I got to that point and went, well, I've made a solid, and now I need to work out how to angle it, and that's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. You cut it and then build a projection off it.
I was going to say, the other thing that you could do is define a new plane in FreeCAD, and you take the bottom line as one of the datums. You say, right, put a plane along that intersects that line and tilt it by your 3 degrees or whatever your number is.
And these
and
were
then you draw
all
on that,
things that were
you did
beyond
not.
me. And I decided it would be much simpler to just drop the 30mm adapter, because there is enough flex in this hose
to
take up the angle without coming through the top of the dash if it is like this.
Not if it is like that.
So this is the new print. This, old and busted, new hotness.
I mean, to be fair, it was also old. It was also busted when it was new.
Well, yeah. But the tolerances on this are larger, so this should have a full 2mm gap all the way around the outside. As yet, I have not tested this properly on here.
Oh, is this like the moment of truth? Oh, that's immaculate.
But that actually does fit extremely well. I
like
am very, very happy with how that's come out. It fits with the foam. The foam is squeezed down, but there's still a little bit of movement, so it's not completely set.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically this then just goes onto the back of it there. We put a hose clamp on, and she's
And we've
good.
got it here.
Yeah, and we have
Magic.
So
Is this the first 3D printed part of the car that's actually worked? Because even the clamp that we made for the air filter on the back is kind of...
well, that's jank.
Trash,
so
yeah.
that needs completely redoing from scratch. It might be the first part that has taken a single revision, which we can count as a test piece for clearance, because that's all it did. That's all it was designed to do, and it did it perfectly. If it had come out in one, I would have been astounded. I think everybody else would have called
I just don't know how that happened. So what did you change to get from this to that?
I remade it from scratch. I literally started again, because it took me... And weirdly, you've seen how much I've argued with FreeCAD in the past.
I've seen how much you've argued against it, not so much with it.
Close enough. This one took me all of about 40 minutes to put together.
That's usually how it goes, though. Once you know how to do something the first time, the second time's a piece of cake.
Yeah. And I did it before and after I went to physio, so I had a break in the middle as well.
Do we have a tape measure, by the way? Because I've now got, like, the... Can you see the problem?
Yes, I can see the problem. So Ada's asking how this is secured, and that is an extremely good question, because at the moment it is just a friction fit. That's all the BMW one does. It literally just pushes onto the back
a big
and
zip
holds
tie
in place.
over the whole thing.
And yeah, just zip tie around the front. What we could do is actually put some threaded grub screws in to hold it in place, because we can tap the plastic enough. It's not going to be holding it too...
Yeah, because it's not actually going to be in tension. It's just going to...
It's just going to be locating it. The other option is, because of the way the pipe is actually going to be fit inside...
It can be that the pipe actually kind of
holds it on.
holds
The pipe is probably going to end up holding it on in compression exactly the same way it does in the Beamer. But yeah, there are options for how to secure it, in addition to either drilling, tapping and putting some grub screws in, holding it on here by extending the framework that actually holds this whole vent into the into the dashboard. So that is going to be a fairly interesting one to try
Nice.
and do, which I think that is probably tomorrow's project, is
Fair
to fit the rest of this and do a load of the dash. There you go, you can have a look at.
Awesome. I'm being really antisocial for a minute because like the way I'm choosing to measure this right now is by holding it to my screen and just putting all of the points on the model on the corners of the actual thing.
That
The
is
scale will be wrong, but the shape will be right.
That is some horrible, horrible stuff. To be fair, as long as the shape is right, you can measure one dimension.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, everything is wrong with that, and I hate it.
It does work though. It's what I did. It's what I did to do the
just gonna
CAD
put-
model of a bike that I didn't build a while ago.
I'm just going to put you on.
We have mic interference now.
Oh, interesting. Chris, can you just check your pack?
Yes, please hold. Could it be that like just the connections, my thing's iffy?
It shouldn't
Put
be.
it on the table just so it's not like. underneath.
Good. Hi, Greg. Yes, who am licking the ground?
I'll be muted. I will not do,
Okay. So I'm just going to take this for the time being, whilst Chris sorts some stuff out,
Yes.
and looks at some horror show as he tries to map out on the back. Wow. Okay. I mean it's definitely a choice of ways to do it.
Yeah. I mean, we're almost there now, really. It's just I just got to set that radius to the right. Oh no, it's moving other points around.
No.
I should have locked them. I should have locked the points in when I knew they were good.
Yes. Always lock your points. I'm saying this like I know what I'm doing. Lies.
Is the yes? Oh god, it's complaining at me. Oh, I've got redundant constraints. Okay, that's fine. That's
Right.
normal.
Yeah, I frequently have redundant constraints.
I just
I would like to know
wish
what-
the FreeCAD has an option to automatically remove redundant constraints. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
No.
No, I found that and I was like, oh, that could be quite interesting.
So instead, I think I'm just going to press the block button on them and see what that does. Oh, select an edge from the sketch. Typical.
It's like moving a table in one. Yes. Or moving anything at all round in Word.
And of course now, because I've had the error panel pop up, it's rescaled everything, which has completely screwed me.
Yeah, pretty much. You move one thing. So when I was doing it on, I've forgotten what I was working. Oh, actually, it was the other piece that I haven't shown you yet, but you might be able to see in the background behind me that I need to load into. I can get rid of Cora. Load into FreeCAD so that you can see the mess of bits and how it evolved. Still feels like a bit of a strong word. I'll be completely honest with you. So this. Right. Whilst Chris is doing that and we're sorting mic issues, I'm going to throw this back over here and steal Chris again. There we go. And I'm
Almost done.
me up on there. There we go.
You tell me.
Nice.
Right. So this was the dash vent.
That is ugly.
Yes.
Not gonna lie, that's proper ugly. Where does this go?
Underneath the dash, going up into the windscreen.
Oh.
So the problem is around this spot in the centre where this comes in at an angle. It cuts across, absolutely fine, nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. If we look on top down, that's probably going to be the most useful. So that's not set up for the pipe to go on the
Right.
same way as the other one because
Oh, have you got a valve or something to
the
go
butterfly valve will actually mount perfectly onto it, and I'm just going to drill and screw through and
Yeah.
put bolts on, and it will be absolutely fine. So that's going on instead, and that is what the...
Oh,
should
it's a little
probably-
trumpet fit. Sorry, not trumpet,
Can
but a
you
little.
untuck your mic, please? It's dragging around.
There we go. That might be a little bit better. So yes, so we have the adapter that goes onto the hose that we can bolt onto the butterfly adapter, and that goes onto the front of this. So this is all well and good so far.
Okay.
The problem...
I don't like that there's a so far there.
Yeah, the problem is when I close that and I make it a little bit bigger, this angle, the reason there is this massive long gully, for want of a better word, that comes basically across the front. So obviously air comes in the back, comes
Yeah.
up from the vent,
It's fine.
and then goes up, fans out, compacts down to a 20mm gap across the front, around here, and there, right behind here, is a bolt that holds the wiring harness in.
Oh,
So we have to
right,
get
okay.
down onto the top of it. So we can't go across the top that easily because
Yeah.
there's not enough space vertically for it to fit through, which is a bit of a nightmare. So yeah, it doesn't work as well as it should. Yes, chamfer everything. I feel like I should get one of the... If you haven't watched any of Inheritance Machining, you absolutely should go and subscribe to their channel and then watch a bunch of stuff after we finish doing our stream. But he just does, like, chamfer everything. Yes, I could have done a Y-split around the bolt and then had it so it went through and down and clipped. If it weren't for the fact that it's actually... It's a coarse thread that we've welded onto the top. And then the bolt, as it were, that kind of goes down is it's like a ripstrap connector for wiring harness. So the wiring harness goes. So the wiring harness holder is like a zip tie. It's not really a zip tie. What is it? It's like a ladder.
Yeah, it's like a little ladder of...
It's like a little
soft
plastic ladder that goes around and just kind of like clips onto the top. But you screw that down onto it, and then you have to wrap the cable round over and then clip it back in.
Is this the part we go outside and tear a deck just to show one of them?
It's just tiny bit tempting. So that's basically the problem that we have with doing it that way. Is getting to this little plastic ladder to clip it over the top. So just having a bolt hole wouldn't help. It would have to be quite a few inches across, which again is doable, and I could definitely print that now that I'm a little bit more competent than I was 2 weeks ago. However, this is too big to print on Jess's printer. This is an Ender 3 bed. This is 200.
Oh, does that need my 5?
This is a 280mm long print, which we couldn't orientate in any way to fit on it.
Okay, yeah, I can get that on the 10, and the 10 does actually run at the minute. This doesn't need the whole 5.
I had a better idea.
Okay.
Yeah, you're going to like the better idea.
I don't think I am.
No, you're definitely going to like the better idea.
Right.
I'm just going to have to find the better idea first, though. Which I'm not entirely sure why it's not there. That's very annoying. Please hold, caller. Your call is very important to us. We appreciate you watching with PedalBox and looking at all of the horrendous things that we attempt to build.
And the crimes that we commit in attempting to build them.
I thought I downloaded this already. Yeah, I had... Oh, okay. Yeah, right, fine. I did. It was on the desktop, and that was not where I thought it was going to be.
Riveting content, thank you.
Yes, absolutely. This is the new hotness. Okay, that's unfortunate that it's put them... That it... That... Okay.
Do you need a minute there, mate?
I'm going to have to unplug the mouse because the mouse is currently trying to steal my mouse. Every time I go to click on something, it runs it away somewhere else. Yeah, so I don't know why it's put it into the middle, but I just remade it without this little extension on because it's not going to get a huge amount of flow. And if we have the vent fins angled, it's actually going to deflect it across the windscreen anyway in the direction that we want it to go.
I think...
Yes, it feels like parents operating a computer at this point. Yeah.
I think I've got the template more or less done.
Okay.
Like the radius where it comes around the instrument cluster
Yes.
is tricky because it's not like actually a radius on the car.
No,
it's going to be some like completely random...
Yes, it is in fact completely random. So if you want to scale it, at its narrowest point across there...
Yeah, scaling it's going to be tricky.
Also, if you want to watch people actually properly machine things and use calipers like they know what they're doing, go and watch Inheritance Machining.
Just not right now.
After
we're done here.
He actually got name checked by Adam Savage
Oh, nice.
in one of his recent ones. I was like,
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good name to get. Like...
He's a pretty good person to like name check your channel on a stream. So it is 56.5.
Yeah, I need to find a way to like lock the rest of the shape so that I do just have this one. Like,
Okay, yep, fair enough.
This is going to take a minute.
Okay, so in the meantime, yes, it's kind of difficult to. I don't like how you move around it, and I've not found any better way to do the whole moving around an object thing and,
Just use
and
trackpad
orbiting
mode.
stuff.
I'm not even being funny. Just turn on trackpad mode and
it
then
really-
piss about with everything becomes hold a modifier, move the mouse. So for me, Alt and move the mouse orbits.
So
Shift
I have
and move
Control
the
and
mouse.
Shift. Yeah, so that's what I have set up on the mouse at the moment.
Yeah.
I can't get behind using a trackpad.
Oh no, you don't even have to actually use the trackpad. Just turn on trackpad mode.
But you're still moving with the trackpad.
Right, okay, so it's not the moving, it's
No,
the trackpad.
it's
Right,
the trackpad.
okay, sorry.
It's the trackpad that hurts my brain. And yet everybody needs a 3D mouse, let's be real. But
I mean,
yes.
if it's good enough to fly the Rocinante, it's good enough for me to operate my computer.
So let's close this for a second. Very much discard all of those things, and let's open that again. There we go. Right. So this
Use
is
Fusion 360. I've been there, played that game, got bored of it because it hates me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the software works perfectly well, but when you go to export something to print, and it's like,
There we
okay,
go.
cool, that's a cloud operation. You're waiting.
Yes.
Like I don't like it's in
That's-
my computer.
That's what
my
I
computer
don't.
should
Yeah,
be able to do this.
That's pretty much why I ruled out Fusion 360. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
going to get annoyed one day when it tries to go, oh, but I'm doing it in the cloud. I'm like, I don't care.
No, I have a computer.
I have it.
I
It's
have
right
a
here.
very powerful
Yeah.
computer right here.
If I was RDPing to a machine and then doing it in
Yeah.
the cloud, I'd be like, okay, you know what? Fair enough. You're doing
This
the thing.
this is just me being a curmudgeonly bastard that demonetized.
Yes.
do I
So
make
my
this
plan is to actually become competent with ANSYS because we received a free copy of ANSYS to play around with and do many, many cool things. So that will be extremely good once I've learned enough in FreeCAD that I'm then not going into ANSYS completely novice because that will be hell on earth, learning a completely different interface. But yes.
I don't know
It
why
does
I'm
do-
replying to Cabe in chat.
That
Because
seems...
he's the other side of that
Yes,
camera.
he's in the camera. He's in the he's right there. Look.
Hi, Cabe.
Look, Cabe, wave.
Yeah, we can see you.
Yeah. So, this is the dash vent as
Okay.
it stands now.
Now that you've managed to delete the other vent from your...
More importantly, this is the dash vent.
Excellent. Okay, cool. So how does this work? So is that other plate one that
That's
you
the
printed
top.
so that it could...
Yes.
Right, okay, so that you didn't have to print with support.
It's because I thought printing with supports throughout the entirety of that.
I
with
bet you could have
a-
printed like that.
Bearing in mind it has a tiny little I mean, you could have put supports around the bottom
Okay.
edge. You could have, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I really didn't want to.
Fair enough.
The only question, and I really hope that I got it right, because I didn't remeasure anything off this.
Yep.
I went from the old model and just copied things. So I'm really kind of hoping that this little index is going to work into there. And it does! Oh, it's so very pleasing when it works like that.
I do love when a plan comes together.
So yes,
Cabe 3D prints for a living and still thinks it feels like magic.
yeah. So,
I genuinely,
That
right? The
is-
fact that I can download a physical thing and just make it
you
exist.
wouldn't print a car, would you? I would if I
You
could.
would.
I think you find I am to a small degree. So yes, so this will sit on the crossbeam. So we have our 50mm crossbar, which goes across the from
Oh, this
A
is the
pillar
tube
to A
that runs
pillar.
across.
So
yeah,
it goes
okay,
across that
the
way.
dash.
This basically sits on it there, and then this goes up to where the dash is, and it curves over the top and runs down into the shape of this. So actually, these sit kind of.
Oh, I'm doing some awful, awful things to make this work.
These sit kind of like this in the car. So where there is a pipe that comes in the top, another pipe that comes in the top there, and another one that comes in underneath and blows through into this vent. And the goal is that with this funky little piece here, which I even cut out strengthening beams so it wasn't as heavy, because weight saving is important on this car because we chocked it full of steel.
We have made it a bit fat, haven't we? What are we, 800-ish kilos we reckon it's going to wind up at the minute?
We assume what I need to do is do the very cheaty corner weighting test,
Oh,
which
yeah.
I've seen done using a pair of bathroom scales.
Brilliant.
And you have to lift it all up to the right size so that you can yeah, so that you haven't got one wheel being pushed further up, so you get the corner weightings right. So we need to put everything on bricks.
Yeah.
And then remove one set of bricks and put the scales underneath it. And if it maxes out the scales, then we need to come up with some sort of lever arrangement so that we
to
can
reduce
brace
the weight
it.
load on the scale.
Yes, and I have seen it. It does work.
I can see how.
Superfast Matt demonstrated it, which is where I got the idea and went, I could use that. That
Yeah.
would be brilliant. So that is the next plan. And we might try and do that this week at some point for a laugh. Hopefully, I'm not going to shatter my scales because they are glass. So this has some ribs down the underside. Why has that just dropped off? Interesting.
Dropped off?
My connection to chat from PedalBox has just died.
Oh, interesting.
Which is, yeah, a little bit annoying. I still have Wi-Fi, so unless the Wi-Fi has just gone down in the house, which would be really annoying.
It's fine. I can relay chat to you
and
if
it's
you
back.
want.
There we no, it's
Okay.
back. I also have another copy down here just
Oh, cool.
to cheat. Yes, so we have the problem we have is the scales that we bought. I thought, oh, it'll definitely be if we strip it, if we strip the engine, the gearbox, we take all the subframe, all of the suspension off, everything, we should be able to make it under 300 kilos so that my 300 kilo scales will work.
Nope.
And unfortunately, it was about 310 because it just tipped over 300, went 305 into error, but there was so little difference. But that one also wasn't completely bare because we didn't take any of the pedal box out, we didn't take the master cylinders, any of the pipe work. I think it still had the fuel tank in as well. It had a lot of bodywork attached to it. I think the floor may also have been on it. So yeah, that was questionable at best whether or not the bare chassis weighs under 300, and then we extrapolated up from there. We weighed the engine and gearbox together, which was under 300, and then went through a bunch of other stuff. So I still think it's under 800, but that is yet to be confirmed in its current state, and we haven't even
And obviously we are
thought
still
about
like
weighing
adding
it.
mass to it.
Yeah,
so-
we haven't even thought about weighing it since we added on most of the bodywork. So now all the steel bodywork panels that are welded to it are on. We are pretty much good. And yeah, we've 3D printed with so much weld. It's not even funny. Even before 2019, more like 2017. The first thing that we did, we should have just started printing. So yes, so the plan for this is it will sit underneath the dashboard. This lid sits on top, and I'm thrilled that it actually fits because I took approximate measurements from one model and then built another model just to see whether or not I could do it. And it did. It fits really nicely. It locates inside. If anything, I left the tolerances a little bit too large, but this is just going to get glued onto here anyway, so just some plastic glue. That will hold in nicely. But to attach this onto the underside of the dashboard, this is just going to sit up next to it, and then the dashboard is going to basically get sliced down the middle and then rolled inside, so it will grip onto this top and bottom, and then another printed piece will go in through the top, and that's what will actually bond this onto the underside of part of the dashboard. And once that's in, we can work out what angles we need to make some other brackets to just hold the back end in, so it's completely locked in place onto that panel. And then we can take it in and out all we want. And the only thing we need to do is disconnect the hose from
With that
the
panel,
butterfly end.
Can I have
This panel.
Yes.
There you go.
I have done crimes.
I mean, that's what we seem to do best. So, update on the last one as well. When you've seen we put paint on the car. So far, the paint is holding up extremely well.
Mostly.
Where on the edges, where previously the tarp would flap and it would rub the paint away right on the outside edge of the wheel arches, that is not happening, which is excellent news, because that was one of the main areas where it was then getting down. Water was getting into the primer at the top, the primer and the filler at the top, and then sort of screwing it peeling it off basically. So that has solved a massive problem. There are 3 other issues that we've discovered. One is on the driver's side corner. I was putting some tape down today, and it's only really cheap painter's tape, blue painter's masking tape. I put that down, and it managed to pull off a couple of flakes of paint, which was really annoying. So I'm not sure why that hasn't gone down as well. It does look very, very smooth underneath, so I just don't think it was keyed particularly well or something. But at the end of the day, it's to protect the majority of it, and if it's only bare metal that's underneath, we can throw a little bit of regular primer and satin black over, and it will be okay. It's the filler that we really want to protect with this. The big question that a lot of people had over the top, where all of that foam was the heat cycling. When it gets warm, if there are air bubbles, and they're going to expand and contract and crack everything across the top. So far, that has been absolutely perfect. There are a couple of cracks right at the very edge where it transitions from the foam into the metal. That is a little bit more confusing as to why that's happening. I don't know if it's because the resin and the metal are just expanding at different rates, where we capped the foam off, or whether or not it's just sort of, it is expanding right at the corners and it's kind of breathing, I guess, and going up and down, and that's where it's cracked it. But I would expect much more cracking across the whole top, and there's nothing across the top, which, again, I'm really, really pleased that it's gone that way, but I'd like to know why these little cracks have appeared. So we're not going to fix them immediately, we're just going to leave them for the time being. No, I did not see. What was your comment about cling film aid? And I will address it now, live, in person, whilst Chris commits some more crimes in CAD.
Well, Chris gets very, very confused, really, because
Actually,
there's
that's
something going on here that I do not like.
The other option is, where did you comment about cling film? Because I can also look that up.
I seem to remember it was on the paint episode.
Okay.
I think, was it something along the lines of, like, why don't we cover the bits of the car? Like, I might be misrepresenting it because I only remember skimming it, but I think it was something like, why don't we cover the car in cling film to protect it?
I can't... Okay, I can't see it commented on any of the videos.
Yeah, use cling film to protect the paint like BOM did. Partly because if BOM did something, it's probably a good idea, and we don't have good ideas.
So they didn't use did they use... Well, they used a kind of sticky back film, and we've already established that the sticky back film would tear what paint we have off. So I suspect it would probably tear the the filler off as well, because it's particularly sticky, but that still doesn't prevent it from getting air. You would have to seal it completely all across the top, and I don't think it would work for what we need to do. Plus, it would still potentially allow the filler to be knocked and sort of grazed with anything that fell into it, and the cling film would still abrade through on the sides when it had the... One second.
I'm roughly on team, like, it sounds like it would be better than nothing.
Oh, no, it would absolutely be better than nothing, don't get me wrong, but...
But probably not better than paint.
But yeah, paint and lacquer to make a nice, sort of solid thing. It is painted, Greg. You should watch the episode. Well, the back half of it's painted, and then we kind of blew the compressor up. We were literally right at the end of,
I was so close
of doing it.
Yeah.
We were so close to having finished it off, and we had to bodge it just to get the last, 3 or 4 minutes of painting done.
Yeah, I can't remember what we did for the last little bit.
We managed to hold it and hold a number of
bar.
It was... So
there's a big...
from what we can tell, there is a pressure relief... Well, no, it's a non-return valve on the compressor where it runs down in. There is a spring on the back with a little rubber foot. The foot is pushed onto the inlet. The inlet pushes... the inlet allows air through, pushes down, goes into the tank, and that closes once the pressure drops.
The important thing
at
is
the top.
there's a big threaded bolt or like boss that runs into the end to hold it.
It's like it's a 19mm boss on the end of what has to be about a 25mm thread. And when you thread that in and tighten it up, it gets tighter, and before you go, oh, that's just about to nip, it spins round again.
But there's barely any bite in the thread,
yeah.
so we've got this bolt that's basically holding all of the tank pressure
yeah.
on the main tank inlet outlet.
Yeah.
And it's in like just the tiniest fraction of a thread.
But what we can't understand is how it survived this long, because when you look at the threads, do you need the calipers?
Please.
When you actually look at the threads inside that you're threading into, they look perfectly fine. They have the right kind of thread pitch, they match up absolutely fine. And when you look at the threads on the bung that goes in, the threads look absolutely fine. It doesn't look like they're rolled over. They're, again, the right thread pitch, so it doesn't look like they've worn down. It's just really, really maddening. Unfortunately, we have a spare compressor. Brilliant, absolutely fantastic. We'll just spin that out, put the other nut in, and it'll be absolutely fine. No, because for no explainable reason, bearing in mind that these compressor tanks, from what we can tell, are basically pattern parts. One has a 50-litre tank, one has a 25-litre tank, but otherwise every fitting looks the same. The valve assembly is the same, the pump assembly on the top is the same, the cowl, the air filter, everything is absolutely the same, except for this little valve. And it could easily be that this one with the coarse thread was found to be terrible and was replaced, because the other one that we have has a fine thread pitch, and that is absolutely mint. It also has a rubber seal that sits at the back. So all I can assume is that at some point somebody went, that coarse thread one, no, that's terrible, we shouldn't use that anymore. And they went, oh, okay, and stopped using coarse thread on this particular piece and used fine thread instead, because the inlet and the pressure check to go to the automatic cutoff are both still coarse thread, exactly the same on both compressors, which is extremely weird that they would just change one to be fine thread. So they must be like standardized threads on the other ones, probably pipe thread or something like that. I haven't actually bothered to check because it became a moot point when we discovered that we couldn't just swap the bungs. And then when we tried to take the fine pitch thread one out of the compressor and put it in the other one, so we had big tank compressor with all of the working things.
It was so tight, it was like glued in or something, so we couldn't actually unwind the whole unit. Well, we could, but it only had the tiniest little flats that we could get a spanner onto, and being brass, they all just rounded off.
Every single one. As soon as you got on, it would clamp onto it, you get it exactly the right shape, and it would turn round. And it wasn't that it was slipping round because it was too big, it was actually just mashing the metal and mashing the brass fitting round. So
we got it way out. We got it like 2 or 3 turns out, and then we
got it 1.5 turns out. So this is the worst bit.
It just got stiffer and stiffer and stiffer, and eventually just ate all the flats.
Well, this is the worst bit. We did 1.5 turn. If we'd done 1 turn, we probably could have got away with it and just gone, well, it's clearly tight enough, it'll hold pressure. Because we got 1.5 turns, it's now
none of the connections
backwards.
Work.
So the inlet comes in here, but it needs to go into this fitting on this side, and then the outlet is on this side now, and it should be on this. And you just look at it and go, I can't believe it managed to break or fail so perfectly out of alignment. So we're going to have to make a tool that sits over the entire thing so that we can turn the whole fitting like the top of a tap, effectively.
Anyway, it spat the bolt out while we were painting.
But yes, whilst we were painting, it went boom and shot it across the drive into a bin, well, into the side of a bin. We found the spring, but I haven't found the little plastic return unit. And yeah, it's just wow.
Okay. I've decided.
Wow.
I'm not doing this until I've got an actual tape. Because I thought I had a fairly accurate representation of the shape, and all I had to do was scale it. Now, in CAD, saying keep all of this the same relative shape, but just let me scale it, involves locking in all of the angles, right? Because you can't set any of the lengths, any of the dimensions, because obviously they have to scale. And there's no way to say, I want this thing to be twice the size of that thing. Like, that's not a thing that it understands how to do.
Yes.
You can say, I want this thing to be twice the size of that thing by making it like a triangle around them and fixing the angles of the triangle, because, of course, you scale a triangle and everything goes in scale. So, if we cut to my computer screen for a minute, we can see the horrible crimes I've committed. Where I've basically put locked angles in.
You built
and
a scaffolding.
all sorts of constructed geometry just to say, okay, turn everything into triangles and lock the angles of the triangles so that I can like freely scale the whole thing.
With 0 distances involved.
The problem is, it wasn't actually quite correct. And now, because everything is set by angles, I can't just take a piece and go, okay, I want like this point to be like a little bit different or anything.
Do you know what I think I have in here? Oh, and it might be on my desk upstairs. I have the angle finder, the digital angle finder. And what's even better is it has batteries in.
Magic.
Unfortunately, it is not here. So only if somebody else in the house is watching the stream will they be able to have a look and see if they can see it on my desk and bring it down. But unless I can find it in here somewhere, but I'm pretty certain it made it back upstairs. I can't think why it would have made it back upstairs and the calipers wouldn't have, though. That's a bit weird, why I would have taken one and not the other.
Oh well, is what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I've got something that's mostly the right shape, but annoyingly, mostly the right shape isn't, the right shape.
That would mostly the right shape gets us to 5th times the charm.
Yes, which is not really where I
No.
want to be. I want, like, given that I have the thing in my hand and
Yes.
I've tested and I know it's the right shape.
Yes.
I want to go straight from here to like a properly.
But yes, do you want to
designed
have an
thing.
actual look at that?
Yeah, now that I've got some brain.
You're not desperately trying to make things work.
Yeah, desperately's maybe a strong word, but
So yes,
okay, that's kind of neat.
there are a couple of different ways we can try and join that in so that it will fit. We need a little bit of
I gotta say,
resin
that did
or
print really,
similar.
really nicely.
It did. It went really, really nicely.
Yeah.
The only sort of blemish is the support in the middle, but that's largely acceptable. That'll sand
I
down.
mean, if my fan shroud that is in arm's reach is anything to go by, I reckon you might even be able to do that without support. Because if you look at the monstrous overhang angles inside there,
Yes.
and that
think-
wasn't on a particularly well configured machine. That was like a pretty just roughly
That's
baseline 5.
a lot finer layering in order to achieve
Yeah,
that.
I went
That
to like
was-
a 0.1 mil layer height.
Yes,
for
that
that.
would probably do it.
But you can do dynamic layer height. In Cura, you can have it, like, when it's doing these like really steep overhangs, you can have it do a shallower layer.
Yeah.
So that the amount it's having to run off is
It did
smaller.
admittedly, it did get quite angry over these sides here. And
Yeah.
here.
I mean, you look at that overhang, though.
I mean,
That is a long,
It's
and
a-
insanely shallow overhang. Can we go back to the close-up camera for
It
that?
is-
Because,
yeah, it is.
yeah, which one are we on?
It is quite shallow, and it worked really nicely until we changed how we were basically doing anything at all.
Yeah.
But
like that-
In fact, we haven't even got a fan shroud anymore, have we?
No, nothing at all.
No. Oh well, we should probably address that at some point.
Yeah.
Or more content for later. Yeah, this is going to be get it running, get it running, get it running, get it running. Now get it good.
Yes.
And
But
run
no,
from
seriously,
there.
like, if that overhang is anything to go by, because
Yeah.
Jess's machine is dialed in way better than mine, and yeah, if that sort of overhang is possible on
Yes.
my piece of crap 5, then
I'll stick it over here.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think,
good
yeah.
actually, should
I'll
I
put
just
it
pass
in
it
the
across
wheel.
to Mint so that you can so that you can have a look at that angle? Because
Yeah.
if you know that that's possible on my machine, yeah, you'll have pretty high hopes for what you can do on yours.
Whose machine? My machines.
What's this a reference to? I'm missing
Scrubs.
something. Oh, yeah, okay, that's why I'm missing it. I don't think I even finished making it through season 1. Not because it's bad, I just kind of bounced off it. I was surprised.
Sorry, let me just.
Oh, are you catching up on chat?
Yes.
Destruction is a variant of done.
Yes, destruction is very much a variant of Doe. When did you finish? When I could no longer work because it was broken. Oh, okay, fair enough.
I will say what Em's talking about on the Impreza is kind of reminding me a little bit of the Rover. Not so much in new parts being available, but in terms of I have decided there's a problem, and I'm not just going to fix the problem. I'm going to try and like put preventative measures in place to prevent that problem from ever happening again.
And then
oh
you
no,
just find
my
another weak
door's
spot.
rattling a bit. Dismantle the whole door, rebuild the whole thing with like rubber gaskets between every moving part,
Yes.
like extra bolts in, extra redundancy,
Yes.
tons of you get the rough picture.
Yeah. I mean, the other option is always just you find the broken part and you make it way overkill, and you find the next weakest
Yeah.
part and you make it way overkill, and eventually
Yeah.
you cycle round to where that overkill part you put on is the new weak spot.
Yeah.
And I do know people
Well, that's your
who've
buddy
done
with his
that.
MR. Is it an
With the
MR2?
MR2,
that-
yes,
Yeah,
with
he's
the
been tuning up.
turbocharged, supercharged MR2, which I'm not sure if it's twin charged anymore because
Okay.
on the basis that
Well, he'd have blown one of them up, wouldn't he?
yes,
So yeah.
turbos have come a long way, and therefore more
you
things
very
are achievable with less complexity. So. So yeah, I need to check whether or not he's in what condition that is currently in. So
Yeah, I'm probably gonna go quiet for a little bit more while I try to figure out a way that I can salvage that profile with, because like it was a fair bit of twiddling. I mean, granted, it's taken me like 20 minutes on the stream to do it, but like it was a fair bit of twiddling, and I would like to not have to just do the whole thing again now that I've got the scale.
yeah, now that you've kind of made it work.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to figure out like what angle constraints do I have to delete that will let me move things around.
Yes, pretty much.
Actually, are there any lines that are already good? I think I've got a few good lines that I can lock. And no, I do not. I've got loads
Yes.
that are in the right. I've got loads of lines that are on the right line, but their lengths are
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it.
Yes, Emmy, that is exactly the way it goes. But now I've got more overhead. Now I can push it harder, right? I don't know if I don't know how many of the people in chat have seen David Freiberger's F-Rod, which is a Ford Model A hot rod, like open wheel, etc., etc.
Right.
It has 8.5 second approved cage in it, and he wants to do 8.5s naturally aspirated.
Okay. I mean, it weighs nothing, so
Yeah.
you know, cheat codes to begin with.
So he had a like 510 cubic inch V8 with a tunnel ram on, and that was his training wheels, as he called it, so that he could get used to the car setup before he put the really big silly engine in and made it go hard into the 8s. And he did something like 8.9 on his first run.
Crikey.
Yeah, and since then, on his training engine, he has actually done 8.501. So he hasn't even. He's got a 572 biggest block ready to go in it that he's now not going to put in. Which, yeah, that's quite the thing. But we'll see whether or not. I think he was talking about just giving up on putting the 572 in, because ultimately his cage is only rated to 850.
Right.
And I don't know whether or not it's rated
Is he going to
beyond
want to recage
that.
it or anything?
Oh, he's not going to want to recage it. He's only
Oh,
had
is it
it.
proper like coupled in?
Yeah,
to,
and
right.
it's so neatly tied in around everything. It's beautifully done. He had someone
Yeah.
do it for him, and yeah, they did I think 4 episodes of Roadkill Garage on it, building it up at the various
Yeah.
different things and then testing it and fixing various problems here and there. And yeah, I'm not sure whether his cage is 8.5 and below down to another spec, or whether or not he's good only as fast as 8.501. Because if it is, then he can't go any faster in the car anyway, so what's the point in putting the 572 in?
Yeah.
So I think he was going to put that into something else. Because he was like, I want to do 850s natural. And now he can, so it kind of does the job.
I'm going to do more crimes.
Oh, I do love me some CAD crimes.
Because I've decided I can't afford to use my hands to hold the thing in place while trying to CAD around it. So I've just sat it in front of my monitor.
Oh, God.
And I'm now like trying to position the thing on my screen so that it's behind it. Because I still can't measure anything.
If I
So
don't
this is extremely in the analog domain.
Yes. I don't suppose if Vix is still watching the stream, she could have a look and see if, or Yola for that matter, if the angle measure is on my desk upstairs and there's a tape measure. Because at least some kind of tape measure would get us close. I mean, I can do it in multi-part using this and go from point to point to point with the vernier calipers, but I think people might cry.
I would. But I'm not sure if I'm people.
Yeah. No, we don't count. We've committed so many crimes.
We have
building
lost
this.
our
Yeah, we've lost any semblance
lost
of
personhood.
Yeah, pretty much. We're just well, we expect you to do this kind of horrendous bodge these days.
Is that what we do?
Yeah,
So-
we definitely do crime.
So whilst you are criming around, I have additional crimes to show you.
Oh, I'm criming a river. Sorry, I shouldn't have. That.
Did you know, because we discussed this on the previous stream, which you said you hadn't watched, so I think it's worthwhile bringing back up again.
Okay.
Did you know that you can buy a custom coach-built luxury car for $40,000?
No, I didn't.
Like,
I don't even know how.
that is alarmingly cheap, right?
Yeah.
On top of the $40,000, you have to buy your mule, I think, for which you need to base it off, so you get the chassis, doors, glass,
Yeah, you know,
general,
reasonable, whatever.
safety cell, effectively, and all of the accoutrements. But the
Yeah.
40 grand covers it being, to a large degree, rebodied with new things. And you may find yourself looking at this absolute horror show.
Is it about to come up on the screen that I can look at?
Tell me what it's based on.
Okay.
Actually, hang on one. I need to.
You still have a minute because I'm still like putzing around over here.
So the problem is, I need to scroll down
I think I've done it.
without actually looking. Right.
I think
Okay.
I've got it.
This This is an absolute crime against nature, which has some wonderful angles. I'm like, I can see what you were
I'm
going
going to say, for us to be calling something a crime against nature,
Oh boy!
I'm braced.
When I designed the bodywork on the car, I took account of where various lines intersected and met on other places. This one,
Didn't.
the rear door handle used to be in line on the original car,
Okay.
and they've just moved it up 2 inches closer to the window to get it out of the way of something they've added on.
Okay.
That is a crime that I cannot forgive.
Okay. That's probably not the screen you were...
Tell me what it's based on. Because I'll be brutally honest, there are angles of this that I like. And the angles are from the body line of the back end down and as far as basically around all of this custom work, really nicely done. Where it blends in and touches any part of the PT Cruiser...
I wanted to wait for you to shut up so that I could say, is it a PT Cruiser?
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's 40 grand. People are like actually
Yes, exactly,
paying to
yes.
get rid of PT
Yes.
Cruisers. So
The only benefit about driving one of these is that it's one less you have to look at on the road.
that's true.
Because when it's coming towards you, it looks like... When I find my window again.
I'm not proud of what I've done, but the plate is ready.
It looks like this. So this was on the drive.
Honestly, I would rather see a PT Cruiser.
Yeah, I would absolutely rather see a pit.
Like, I don't know what they're doing with like the wheel arches. Don't get me wrong. I get what they're channeling.
I get what they're
but
trying
they've
to
done
do.
a fantastically terrible job with the proportions.
Yes, I'm pretty certain that what they've had to do in this area above where the wheel arch is, and the reason why it sits so far above the actual wheel, is
Yeah.
because they've not done anything about the problem that we avoided by going to double wishbone suspension.
Oh, you reckon they've kept the
suspension.
McPherson?
They have McPherson strut
Yeah.
somewhere underneath there, and that's why this has to be so incredibly high.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Because it's been lengthened to make it work. And as I say, when you look at the back, there, this whole back end looks reasonable.
No, it doesn't. I mean, from where I'm standing, I can still see the top of the rear fender. Past you.
Okay, yeah,
So,
that's,
yes,
okay, yeah,
but
so
yeah,
fair
yeah.
enough. So, but like this, the rear section where no glass touches anything and where it doesn't blend into the Cruiser, I can see what they were going for. They've done a reasonable job, but oh my god,
What a turd.
and they've done virtually nothing with the interior other than it's now red,
There's not many.
plasticky leather.
There's
with
not many
fake
cars I'll say this about.
Fake black walnut.
There are very, very few cars I'll say anything like this about. There's almost nothing about that I like. I'm sorry that like.
As a vehicle, no, there is nothing about it that I like. And the crime of it all is this door handle just getting punted right up to the top when it used to be in line with. I spotted that and
It just seems lazy.
Yes.
That's the part that gets to me about it.
Yes.
Like it seems. I mean, granted, that's what you get for 40 grand. You're not getting a whole lot of coach building for that much money,
no.
or for that little money, as it were.
But they actually had to move other things. They had to move that handle. And yeah, I just, on the one hand, I'm astounded you can get a coach-built car for 40 grand. On the other hand, I'm not astounded that
that's
what you get for
40
40
grand.
grand. Yeah. And
Dear
it just,
God.
yeah, wow. Just, wow. I'm just going to check up on chat and see.
Oh yeah, what's going on in chat?
No, you do. Yeah, as Ronald says, you do not, in fact, get a new interior. You get it kind of reddened, and you get a little bit of fake black walnut. Black ash. Even it's very, very 80s black ash, like hi-fi inside, and just yeah. Oh my God. I'm just going to put Chris back on whilst I find the next travesty to bring up.
There has to be a better way to do what I'm doing.
If only there was a better way.
I'm sure there is one. I just don't know it, and I can't be bothered looking it up right now. I'm just selecting all of the edges like around the thing, just so that I can like round them off a bit. And my mouse is not doing very well with sniping today. So there we go. Right, got all of them. Now, can I find the right button?
I think this has worked.
Yes, I can.
So, this was something again we showed before. and I want this. I mean, that looks pretty good.
Actually, if you just hold that
Yeah.
kind of near, if not on the screen, and I'll see if I can scale it. If you line up the bottom, like that bottom inside corner, because I can zoom on that point.
I mean,
And I
bearing
will
in mind
do
my
this.
angles are all kinds of off.
There you go. That's pretty much
That
perfect.
is pretty close. Like it's disappointingly close in a way, for such a
I'm okay with
horrible
it.
hack job.
Oh, I'm going to show everyone
Show
the
me the
sketch.
sketch. Show me the sketch. Wow.
Because I had one measurement to work with. One, like, actual numeric measurement.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Right.
I don't
okay.
like it.
So
What else we got? I love that.
I want
I've seen
it.
that and I love it.
I don't £10,000 want it.
Is that all it costs?
Yeah.
I mean, presumably you provide the smart card.
No. For that.
What?
That smart Bogini is for sale for like 10 grand. I don't 10 grand want it, but I definitely want it.
I mean, I don't have 10 grand, so it's easy for me to say, because like, I
Yes.
can't commit to this even if I, like,
Yes.
but honestly, I don't know, I feel like if I had 10 grand, I'd probably be pouring it into something silly on the Rover, but that genuinely seems worth it.
Yep.
I love it. It is
Smart Bogini, number 1 of 1.
It's very self-aware. I like that. No, I have immense respect.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, genuinely, yeah. I drive it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my
I
shoulders.
would drive it with a beaming grin on my face. I'd be grinning so hard the top of my head would be at risk of falling
So
off.
the
Honestly,
problem-
that's amazing.
The problem with that is that with your beaming grin, even with your beaming grin,
Yes.
being shorter than me, you would have nothing but flies in your teeth.
I'd be fine with that. I'd be completely fine with that.
I would have them on my shoulders.
Yeah.
Because look at how high it is. So
Just drive faster. Let the wind
Just-
deflecting
the
off the
wind
windscreen.
yeah.
Just deal with everything.
yes, that's like the Renault. Oh God, what was it called?
The Twingos that
No.
Lazarus used to build into
Well, they
stuff.
kind of did, but they did like a TT-esque thing that just had an aero screen that kicked up, and I can't remember what it was called. But
Can't remember. That
I
doesn't
have-
sound like Lazarus though. That's a
But I
different
have
company.
Google.
Because Lazarus did really silly things like Rover V8 converted Twingos.
It
and
was
stuff.
the Renault Sport Spider, which
Oh, okay.
had an optional, an optional windscreen.
That's what McDonald's does to you. Like if you try to wolf down a
Yes.
McDonald's 2 minutes before a stream, it just sits there and like hiccups at you forever.
I'm sure this is going to be a terrible, terrible image, which I'm not going to be able to find. So this was it, kind of legit, with a. Oh, how dare you!
It really is like watching old people try to computer, isn't it? Like, now that I'm not busy trying to do the CAD.
No, double click it. No. Single click on that.
No, don't do that. Oh God!
Stop double clicking everything.
But it's not listening to me.
There we go.
Here we go.
So that was the Sport Spider with a full screen.
Okay. I don't like that. Sorry, Renault. I like a lot of
Do
the
you know
stuff
what?
that you've made.
Very,
but-
very few people did like it by all
Okay.
accounts. This is a legit, a tiny little image that doesn't help. Maybe this one? No, because it's 350 pixels. Has nobody got a decent res picture?
Sorry, if you just put it on the screen behind us, but we don't put the screen full screen on the
it's
screen.
literally still this big.
I'll just zoom in on it. It's fine.
It's just awful. Someone, somewhere, has
I-
to have.
Right, this is one thing that bugs me on a lot of car designers when they take, okay, cool, we've got a line coming here off of this other one, off one component. We need to blend it into a line on another component.
Yes. Yeah,
And those
this,
little scoops
this
on the
whole,
front,
I understand it, but I really don't like it. So that's it without an aero screen.
That
Sorry,
looks-
that's with the aero screen.
That looks better. It doesn't look good,
It looks backward.
but it looks better. Backward. I think I can.
So,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
actually, no, I see it actually.
Driving, if I was to be driving it, I want this. If
No.
I wasn't driving it, I would be happier
Honestly,
with
man,
the aero
windscreens are
screen.
overrated. Apparently, we're getting mic noises again. Do you want to just take your receiver out? Sorry, your transmitter out and put it like on the desk or something? It's
there.
already just sat. Okay.
Yes. I'll put it over there just out of curiosity. So yes, and to be fair, speaking of Renault, obviously everybody loves a Renault 5 Turbo.
Yes, correct.
Oh, okay. This was a lot cheaper last time I looked at it.
Right.
Wow.
Get it on the screen, come on.
Working on it. I'm trying to find the gallery so that it will actually open it and not spoil the price. Oh yes, Renault 5 Turbo 2, and
I know they've gone silly in price, but I don't know how silly. Because I remember them only being a few grand.
Yes.
Granted, that was a while ago. Oh, dude.
Would you like to? In fact, let's have some guesses in chat. When I looked at this is on Bring a Trailer, so there is a Bring a Trailer tax attached to this.
Yeah, naturally.
This was something like 40 grand last time I looked at it. So what? Dollars. That
okay.
is, just
oh,
dollars.
right.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So you know,
we will get there, Ronnie.
What do you think? I mean, it has 179 images in the photo gallery of it, so somebody definitely covered this extensively.
Someone paid a fair bit for photography. That's half of where the price came from.
Yes. Yeah, pretty much. And but this is
perfect.
the other thing. It ain't perfect. Like,
it's fiberglass. So...
The fiberglass is cracking all over it. But there aren't many, and this one's in the US, and there are even fewer in the US than there are anywhere else. So the fact that the paint is iffy, it's got chips, the fiberglass is cracking.
We've got
and
$80,000 from Ronald Reagan.
The door here is cracking where the extra panel is coming off the original door. So this is steel.
Yeah.
This is a fiberglass
of course,
panel.
I forgot it's an over.
Yeah,
it's like a. What do you even call it? It's like an over fender when it's on a fender. I don't want to call it an over door.
Well, it's. I mean, it is
is
because it goes further round. They do the same thing. So in order for the ducting, they just punch holes.
No, I'm just talking about like what's the word? Because that's an over fender.
I would call it an over panel.
Yeah, I hate it, but yeah.
Or a body kit. Effectively, it is basically a body kit. So what are the guesses so far?
We've got.
So we've got 80,000 from Ronald Reagan. Until you said you saw it for 40, I was going to say 45. I wouldn't have gone over 30k, so it's already more.
55,000.
We've got 55,000 from Vision Mixer Jess in the corner. You're going to say... Did you say 80?
We're in dollars, right?
Yes,
no,
dollars.
I was relaying Ronald Reagan's
sorry,
guess.
yes. Okay.
I'm going to go with... I reckon 70. And I'll be honest, I'm mostly saying that because we have guesses the other sides of it.
This has been
Sold for $158,000.
Oh my god.
In non-pristine condition.
Oh my god.
$158,000.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, I saw that and I winced.
I maintain the American like speculative classic car retro car market is going absolutely mental at the minute. I don't think it's Radwood's fault.
But it's Radwood's fault.
Like they call it the Radwood effect, and I don't know how rightly or wrongly.
Yeah.
Because Radwood's not like a huge mainstream event as much as Haggerty would probably like it to be.
Yes. So this was the other one. One of the reasons I found this, and I was looking through something, this came...
it does also only have 40,000 kilometres. That's... I mean, I'm not saying it explains it, but it's part way. And then again, it's a Renault 5 Turbo.
It's a Renault 5 Turbo, it's not gonna get a huge amount of kilometres. Yes, it's in great condition inside, but the body panels are cracking off it. This was on Haggerty, speaking of, and I think this is channeling a huge amount of Renault 5.
Ooh, I think I like it.
Yes.
I think it looks a bit too angry at the front.
Concept, and
do you know what I think?
The wheels, highly questionable.
Yes.
I'm not a fan of the square.
It reminds me a little bit too much of the first suit of armour that Iron Man
wrong,
made.
Bitch.
It reminds me a bit too much of the first suit of armour Iron Man made at the beginning of the first film to escape.
Yeah.
Like it just has too much of that, but.
Yes.
Honestly, like the proportions overall, I like it. The greenhouse is relatively big. It's got a nice big slabby look to it.
I really like it. It's so Renault 5, and it's an EV. It's exactly the same way the little Honda has gone back to like.
I love the little Honda.
The 73,
what's it called?
which was it was the CVCC, which predated the Civic. Because
Yeah.
the Civic wasn't originally called the Civic. There was the 600 before that.
Is it just the Honda E? I think it is just the
It
Honda
might just
E,
be,
isn't
yeah,
it
it might be the Honda E. But yeah, the Honda E is such a nice little car. It's channeling the original CVCC.
Yeah. I feel bad because the first time I saw the Honda E, some of the early concepts for it, I saw a Mark 1 Golf.
Yeah, I can see.
Like that,
Yeah,
but
I
in
get that.
fairness, that's because like the Mark 1 Golf was probably heavily inspired by the original Honda
Sure.
CVC, like whatever
Yeah.
exactly the model was. But yeah, but
But
like I've
yes.
been conditioned on VW.
So,
But honestly,
what
man,
else?
I'm really loving it. I think the kind of retro revival that we're going through at the minute,
Mini,
where companies are
Mini
actually
started
getting.
it. Mini started it, and Fiat did it better with the 500.
I can't give either of them any credit because they're both trash.
I quite like the 500. It's not terrible. Actually, no. Do you know who started it? VW with the Beetle. VW
'Cause
did it
none
with
of
the Beetle.
It's only the current Beetle that's really a throwback to the first one. That's a proper, well done throwback.
The first,
Hang on, no. I think you're confusing
the
me.
first
Right.
late 90s.
What I'm trying to say is, I like the current era of good homages to old cars.
Yes, no. This is what I mean. The era of making homages to things.
Oh, that's
the
been forever. Companies have done that since the dawn of time.
Yeah, the Jag S-Type was a hark back to the Mark II, and that was terrible. The Beetle was definitely a product of its time.
Yeah.
During
It was
the
a
sort of-
object.
the,
Like it-
yeah, the 70s revival, curvy things, the Beetle, it fit very well for its time, but the originals haven't dated particularly well. The Mini, let's not talk about the Mini. The 500, I think, has kept pretty well. They've done a big one, but it is called the 500 XL, like very noticeably
Yeah.
the large version.
I will say
Fine.
that the Fiat 500 stylistically is
Yes.
genuinely
And that's
a
what
good
I'm-
throwback. Yes,
and
so
that's
I'll
what I
give
mean.
you that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Stylistically,
Yeah.
it's a good throwback
Yeah.
to what it was.
How-
The Honda E is an extremely good car and a nice throwback to the CVCC.
Do you know what I think there's a difference, right? So the Fiat 500 is basically what if we made,
Yes.
like how close can we get it? The
Yes.
Honda E isn't how close can
No.
we make it to the original.
No.
Nor is the VW, the thing that used to be called the E-Bussy, then the internet took the piss out of it, something chronic. And then they renamed it to something else.
The ID4.
Is it the ID4?
It might be.
Let's have a quick look for the ID4. No, it's
Okay,
the
no,
it's
the
the
ID
electric bus.
The electric
It's
bus.
the thing
okay.
that's basically a loaf.
I know the one you mean.
VW
So,
Buzz?
yeah.
Yes. Yes,
Um,
that's the one.
I
They have
don't-
changed it a bit.
I don't think
But yes,
VinWiki
that is
had
the one.
anything to do with that Renault. Yeah. But
And yes, right, so what Greg just mentioned,
Yes.
the Hyundai Envision 74, that is my go-to
What?
example for right now. That is a manufacturer digging into their past and going, right, what can we do today that's
Yes.
actually modern? The
Yes.
Fiat 500
yes.
is not a modern, like this.
No,
as much
it's
as
very
it's very
much a-
definitely an old Fiat 500, it's
Yes.
not like a very modern take
No.
on it. It's
No,
like,
it's still it's
it's
very
a
much
clone.
vintage clone.
Yeah.
Yes.
The N74 is
I
absolutely
love
like,
the N74.
oh, it's just incredible.
So there was also in other horrors that came up this week. This is
Am I still on? Yeah,
this
I am.
is,
Oh, that's the tiniest, most useless.
super brand
Look
new.
at that. Sorry,
Yes.
I'm just going to keep us on this for a minute because. I can't even say the words I want to say about it. I will just get the channel banned forever.
It is. I love the headlights.
It
the
is just
headlights are amazing.
Absolutely perfect. That, I mean,
It looks
I
so
want pictures
good.
of it from somewhere. There we go.
Yeah.
It's perfect from every angle.
Yeah.
Like it's.
Yeah. I want one
And it
so
right, and
badly.
it manages to be this. I
Yes.
mean, you can see it is a clone of the
Yes.
old one.
But it is
But-
super modern.
Yeah. However, it's also
it even
incredibly
fits-
modern, while also being a clone.
Yes.
While also looking like something out of a cyberpunk graphic novel, because it is like it manages to simultaneously be very modern and very retro and very retro vision of the future.
Yes.
It does all of them simultaneously. I'm absolutely amazed.
So here is an absolute horror show. This is somebody who has rebodied
Let me
a
go back to your screen now.
yes,
yeah?
a
Okay,
1983
cool. That means I can look at chat again.
a 1983 911
Right.
into a GT2 996. But they haven't changed
Wait,
any
hang
of
on. He's
the
put the 911 running gear in the new
No, no,
body.
no.
The other way round.
No. They've just put bodywork on top of an old one, but they haven't taken any bodywork away. They've just added more body to it.
Oh, so he's done what VW did with the Mark III. Just built a
yes,
second
yes,
car
they built
around
a car
the,
around
old
the other
one.
one.
Yeah.
The problem is the overhang in front of the wheels is now longer than the door.
Oh my god. Have you got right? Please.
Oh,
tell me
I've
you've
got pictures.
To, excellent.
Oh yes.
Oh no.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! No!
I
Oh, no.
do not like that.
You can see where the original cab on the old one is, but it's been cut back and sloped down. So there are lines that you look at it and go, that is definitely taking inspiration from a GT2,
Yes.
like the Le Mans GT2. However, this overhang at the front, there's almost, bearing in mind this wheel is probably like 19-inch. It's at least 18-inch. The distance from the wheel to the headlight is 18 inches.
That's awful. Do you know what it's giving me,
And
though?
then there's a headlight, and then there's a bumper, and then there's a splitter.
That's quite bad. But do you know, it is giving me Lotus Elise GT1 vibes. So if
Sure.
we flip back to my screen for a second.
Yes?
Now, this obviously doesn't have the overhang, but it has the same kind of like something seems wrong about it goofiness
Yeah.
that you get from the Elise, which is an immaculately proportioned car. It's exactly the right shape and size, and it's been stretched out of that perfect size into something wrong. This has the same kind of wrongness about it.
Please hold whilst I find a picture of the actual thing. Because somebody in the comments where I found this, and unfortunately I didn't save that one, it's not the RSR.
Oh.
I think it is actually...
Aid Bourne. Was it Aid?
Yes.
Oh no, Ronald Reagan
Sorry.
has dropped into stream chat
It's
something incredible.
It's the 996 GT. It is the 996 GT1.
Right.
Which is why it harks back to the Elise GT1. But yeah, just go through some more angles on this. Now there is somebody else that I've seen who is doing, I think, a 991 or a 997 rebodying into this. Now because that's the water-cooled, the one underneath here is an air-cooled.
The 996 was
The
the first
996 was
water-cooled,
the
wasn't
first
it?
water-cooled
So
one.
they've got an air-cooled engine in a body that's designed for a water-cooled...
Correct. Aside from that, I
dear.
mean, it has a huge amount for the radiator up front, but it has no radiator up front because it's air-cooled.
Love it.
There is somebody else who's taken, I think, either a 997 or a 991, and they have built this body onto it. And apparently they're doing like a proper unveiling of it at the end of this month, so it'll have to go on next stream.
Yes.
But I've seen some pictures of it, and it actually looks amazing. Even just in primer, it looks so good. But this, as you see, it's...
Oh, no. I mean, he looks very happy. He's very, very friend-shaped.
But it's this.
Yeah.
It's the bulge. The bulge is so horrendously massive.
I reckon it would look a lot better if they'd just got a bigger lens and taken a few steps back. I think that would have fixed a lot of the problems.
The back
looks great. That's fine.
The back is absolutely
Well,
fine.
Not great, but yeah, it's fine.
And you can see where, I mean, they've got the flares come out too far over the wheels. So
Yeah.
there's no need for that flare to come out so far.
Yeah.
It's at least 2
That's-
inches too wide.
That
That's
bugs me
creating
on
this.
every car I see it where the wheel arches are too wide for the wheels, man. It's
And
not hard.
A lot of them are people, they haven't got their final wheels on yet, and that's absolutely
that's fine.
fine.
Yeah.
But those are clearly not the same wheels that came on that 1983 911 underneath.
Yeah, this is a person who has put different wheels on.
And those are three-piece splits that you would have on a GT1.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then
But you'd think that by the time you're doing that, you can put the effort into fitment. I mean, this is not a low effort car.
This is not a
lot of
low
work
effort
has gone
car.
into mangling this as badly as they have.
But yeah, it's that picture, and you go, ooh, that front end is about 60% of the entire car. Oh my god,
Jesus.
it's a lot.
I do love the big smile though.
It's a very friend car.
Yeah. I may actually submit this to friend-shaped car. So Ronald Reagan has posted in the Discord stream chat, by the way. Discord.
Yes, you should all go and join our Discord.
Have we got a convenient link for it? Or are we just like discord.com/
because we can't make custom links because we need more
we're
people
too
to boost
small.
the server.
Yeah, okay. Will I get banned if I like try dropping a Discord link in
It's in the
YouTube
chat. It's in
oh,
the-
someone
it's-
already put the...
No, it's in the description below.
Oh,
Along
so
with
it is.
shop.pedalbox.show
Click the
and
Discord link in the description.
patreon.com/pedalbox show. Go me.
Anyway, so Ronald Reagan has sent us this, which is currently on my screen, which I think we've all seen before,
And I love it.
and it's genuinely incredible.
I definitely wouldn't want to drive it anywhere because I know how much structural integrity is in that body. and how much they've cut out to put the gull-wing doors in. And I really hope there is a lot. It looks like there's extra box section gone in and it's been reinforced quite a lot. But I still don't think I could really trust it enough.
I think he's done a better effort with the outside than the interior. Like if I just pop back to the interior, there's like
The interior's okay. It's not amazing.
It is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. This is you look at it from 20 feet away and go, that's amazing.
This is absolutely like a show car.
Yes.
I mean, understandably. And I do absolutely love it to bits. Yeah. Just what an incredible piece of work.
So there was another one that we went through before, which was Crazy Japanese Concepts.
Right. Would you like the screen back?
Well, I need to load this one up first.
Okay.
Because this is actually for sale on Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
Assuming I can get it to give me the full-size pictures, which obviously I can't.
What have we got in chat?
I don't know how true it is, but the story is that Ty DeLorean is the son. I'm not...
Yes,
Sorry,
so
Greg, I'm not following you
I
there, mate.
also heard about that as well, that the guy that built it is somehow linked to DeLorean of old.
Oh, right, okay, as in, right, gotcha.
But because he doesn't own the DMC, and he's put DMC on the front, he got in trouble with a lawsuit.
Oh, no way.
Because like it
hope
was
that's
all
not true.
it was all sold off in bankruptcy. It
Yeah.
went to somebody else owns it, and they are doing things with it, so they have to protect their copyright.
Yeah.
It's the same as Ferrari going after the
No, I get
Ferrari
that.
and all the rest, which
Yeah.
it's unfortunate.
Wait,
but
wasn't the Ferrari just actually a Ferrari that Deadmau5 got, or is this something else?
yes, no, that was a Ferrari, and he just rebranded it as Ferrari instead. And they went, "You can't do that. That's our copyright that you're messing with." And I looked at it and
No,
went,
it's your copyright I've removed from the car.
well, no, because they were essentially parodying it, and parodying through trademarks is a lot easier to defend than just creating a parody of something. Same as, it's a clone, it's a kit car based. It's not, as long as you don't advertise it as really being a Ferrari, a legit Ferrari. But he was essentially passing off Ferrari's IP, the shape, the sound, the engine, everything, as a Ferrari. That's why they had to defend it. Like, I get it. I'm just not laughing. But you have to, unfortunately, you have to defend your copyright or give it up to everybody. That's the way copyright law works. You can go, that's amazing, but we can't endorse it. Because if we endorse yours, we open ourselves up to other ones. So you'd have to create a special license for it, and it just...
Once again, what's legal is not what's right.
Pretty much. Well, it's not even what's legal, it's what is
Well, I mean, what is
defensible.
supported by the legal apparatus.
Yes.
Like
So this, I don't know why it's not letting me just... I don't know if I can do it
I
that
try
way.
not to get political on stream. It does slip out sometimes. I apologise. Swing and a miss.
This.
Okay. I'm not entirely sure what I'm looking at.
That-
It's like a people carrier or something.
Yes, this is an A-liner MSV 1120S, which for some
That
reason...
rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
It certainly does, which for some reason is 11.5 grand in America.
Okay.
And here is another wondrous picture of it. I kind of like the doors.
Why does it have 4 different pieces of... Oh no, it's because only the middle bit
Because
can
only
come
the middle
down.
bit comes down, yes. Because if this came down, it would cut the handle off and it
Yeah.
would fail. If the whole thing came down, it would never make it. If the front came down, it would fall off through
Oh,
the
God.
lights. So this is your entire
Tell you
window.
what though, that is a nice big greenhouse. That's a lot of
It's
visibility.
a lot of visibility. It's
You know what, honestly, it looks goofy with the doors open, but I do like it.
so
And also, think how space efficient that is, right? You can park that close to stuff and you're never going to hit any other cars as you climb in and out.
So-
No, genuinely, I dig it.
my favourite part of this, which I'm just trying to verify, is that I think it has a 454 big block.
Incredible.
And let me just find a decent interior picture, which it's been stored for a while, so it is a bit manky inside.
Okay.
I'll be honest. But
If you have any interesting or creative vehicles, feel free to pop them in stream chat in Discord.
it's not even, it's a luxury vehicle. This is not a camper. This doesn't have any beds that you could go anywhere in. This is literally just a
a day
swanky
van.
taxi day van. Yeah. And
Is that what a day van is?
pretty much,
Yeah,
yeah. So, yeah, I found that and went, wow, that's a hell of a thing.
Yeah.
And I don't hate it.
No, honestly,
I
I
quite
think
like
it's pretty
it.
cool.
If there are definitely better things you could do with it. The doors are its absolute crowning achievement. A whole
Yeah.
A-pillar swing round on that scale.
That took some engineering.
Yeah.
I like the doors, but
Yeah.
like really, I like them more from the sort of engineering props perspective than anything. They do look a bit odd,
Yeah.
but they make a lot of sense. Like it's a sensible movement on them.
It can't be a Dayvan. There isn't a wizard airbrush on the side. Yeah, he's not wrong.
Or a Rush cassette in the player.
Yes. There's no better drummer than Neil Peart. This is one that I put into chat the other day.
What do we got? Oh no.
Just
Yeah, I know this one.
especially for Chris.
If you're doing this, we also have to show the best Rover convertible. The Rover convertible that's so good you could honestly pass it off as a Bentley or a roller from a short distance.
Which is
not
that?
even a very long distance. That 75. That one of
Oh
175
yes,
convertible.
sorry. Yes, Rover 75 Cabrio. Yes.
Which honestly looks too good.
So it
to
does
be a
look
Rover
like
75.
it does look like someone's actually made at least one, because it appears to be for sale somewhere.
Yeah, so as far as I can
Oh
tell,
my God.
the one that I put in chat in Discord
Okay, 1 second.
is a factory effort.
So first of all, the pictures that I found are on the 75 and ZT Club, which ZT was the 75
Yeah.
Sports. Some choices have been made on the car, which is just down off this.
Oh dear.
Would you like a Rover 75 Ute? With a wood grain grille? I know I wouldn't.
I think they're leaning a bit too hard into the wood grain aesthetic on that one. I don't
Yeah.
think I dig it. No.
Again,
No, I
it's
don't
quite
think I dig
impressive. It's quite nicely done in terms of the panel work. The panel work is smooth. We have to assume that it's
It
not
is-
just an inch and a half of filler.
It's a decent execution
Yes, of a
an
terrible
awful
idea.
idea.
And this,
That actually.
that is
Oh right,
it.
no, that's okay.
This
that
is
is
one
actually
that
just the
somebody's
original one,
made.
yeah.
And it pops up
Is
in
that
it.
really one that someone's? No, I'm sure that's the factory one.
This is not at the factory.
No, because that's the thing. I'm pretty sure the one I sent was like the prototype in inverted commas for the 75 convertible. I could be wrong on that. I didn't exactly go digging into the history, but
I mean, so with this one,
like that is too. I'm sorry, that looks too good to be.
this one
like, a
definitely
conversion that
appears
some
to
dude did.
exist, and somebody has built a Rover 75 Coupe. Oh, it appears to be the same guy because the it wants me to allow ads on Autocar. For the purposes of this, I will allow it, just because I want the picture. Yeah, somebody actually has built their own 75 Coupe, and for reasons unknown, they have also built the Ute and a back-to-back. So it has two bonnets, which frankly just seems madness. But his coupe actually does look extremely good. Like, let me just pull a picture up here. This is the coupe that he made.
Okay.
So you can see heavily remanufactured because it's on a Q plate.
I don't think it suits it, but it is well done.
It's
too big for two doors. Like it has to.
No, I really like that. I like the double
I don't
tier,
from that
I like
angle.
the back
it-
and the round and
It might just be a bad angle. Because have you seen like a side shot and like a profile shot or anything of it? Because I'm not a fan of the rear quarter.
Please hold, caller.
I think that would work better if the boot didn't have so much angle to it. Because this has a similar problem at the back to what I think of the Audi A7, which is that it ramps down too much at the back or something like that. It looks like they don't know what they don't. Looks like they didn't really know what they were doing. Yeah,
That's the same car.
Yeah, it's still not great, but it does look a lot better from that angle than
Yes.
from behind.
Yeah, the
Or
top
from
down
the-
makes
from
it
the
look like
quarter,
it drops
yeah.
off a little bit too much. I will
Yeah, that's
definitely-
not so bad.
But I still when you've seen the other one and you can process
this,
what
yeah.
that's actually doing, I really like that as a shape. It just
Yes.
it works alarmingly well.
Yep.
I'll just close that one. But yeah, apparently this is the same guy. But oh, there it is.
Oh God. You know what? Right, I've just found the Autocar article that has
Yes, there you
the
go.
75 coupe and
Yes.
and yeah.
Yep.
I do love a. I'm trying to remember what Master Milo called his, because he built a, well, he and his gang built like a back-to-back car. I think it was the whip car. Actually, they probably built 4 of them because they're lunatics. That's another channel you should probably check out if you think we're mad.
Yes.
Go check out Master Milo.
But
they
yeah,
put
like
us to shame.
that works for
Yeah.
a given value of work. I mean, that's obviously the front.
To the extent that you can ever expect a car with 2 fronts. I mean,
yeah.
it's
Again, more pictures.
the only thing more double-fronted than that is a Gen 1 TT. Or a new Beetle.
Yeah.
Not the new Beetle, but the now old new Beetle.
Yes.
Which is very, like, yeah, is just about as reversible.
But yes, I'm impressed that somebody managed to make the SD1 into not a hatchback
Yes.
with a convertible top and a fold-down rear windscreen.
Yeah, it's an impressive
effectively.
piece of work. I will
But
grant that.
they've lifted this higher at this section to keep the
Yeah.
roof line high enough so that it comes up and meets, and I'm like, that's the bit that it breaks. That's where it falls down.
Honestly, man, I'm gonna sound like a loyalist here. Maybe a loyalist isn't quite the right, but maybe like Anaraki, something like that. I maintain the SD1 is basically perfectly proportioned. There are other cars that are overall better looking, right? But the SD1's like on like a local maxima. You can't change any one thing on an SD1 without making it worse. If you modify an SD1, now granted that is fairly extensive modification, right? But if you're going to modify an SD1, you either have to do it all under the skin, so it's basically undetectable, or you've got to go hard on it. Like the racing ones, where they've got slightly widened arches, they're slammed into the ground, they've got aero on them and everything. When you do all of that, it works. But the shape of the car is, yeah, it's just like a local peak. You can't deviate from it a little bit. You have to go a long way from it. And unfortunately, this is one of those cases where they've run very, very hard into, should not have messed with it. Just shouldn't have.
So here is another interesting one.
I will say, the Lotus Esprit S4, significantly prettier than the SD1.
Yes.
Like, this isn't me saying the SD1 is the best looking car ever. It's just me saying that, like,
So-
it's the best of its, like, local neighbourhood.
So this is somebody made and exhibited at the kit car show at Stoneleigh
Right.
many years ago.
Oh, it melted. Or did it? No, he ate a bee. That's what happened. He ate a bee.
However,
He's very allergic.
the front of it, you go, okay, fair enough. Well,
No,
I can't.
no, I don't.
It's a shooting brake.
No.
I would have been thrilled if ours had ended up looking like that, but I know it
It could
wouldn't
have.
because the engine is at the front, and it wouldn't work that way round with the.
I actually did. I genuinely thought ours could end up looking like that. We may even still have the diagrams of it.
Somewhere we still have the pictures of the diagrams that
Right.
we did of it.
I can't remember the exact details, but I'll tell you right now that the biggest thing that I had in mind when I was imagining the back of ours, obviously Z4 bread van as a profile,
Yes.
right? This is going to sound really, really stupid, but hear me out and think about it. Volvo 2nd gen V70 rear end shape.
Yes. We did
With the
discuss.
way it-
we did discuss that for
with
some time
with the
as
lights
well.
like up the pillars as well, so that we could
Yeah.
then just use existing lights.
And this was one of the other ones that I found, which of course now isn't going to load because, of course, actually the pictures aren't particularly good on this. However, this was definitely an option for how we could have done the lights.
Where are we going here?
Let me.
Oh God, is that like does that whole shutter come back or something?
Nope.
Oh, does it
It
flip
rotates axially in line with the headlamp.
I've seen some right a little while ago. I saw a compilation
Hang on.
of like
'Cause here it
pop-uppy
comes.
headlights and stuff. Oh God, do you have any games on your phone?
Yes.
That's the little kid up in your face.
Yes. Yeah. And the problem is, from the side closed,
What is it?
Looks all right. That is a Panther Solo 2.
Oh, I would have never identified any of those things.
How much do you think that car costs? It is in the UK and it is currently for sale on Facebook. How much do you think it costs? It is 260 brake. It says it's a 1 litre. Actually,
it.
says it's a negative 1 litre.
25 grand? I don't know.
Oh.
I've just pulled that straight out my bum. I'll be honest.
So it's 2+2. Aluminium honeycomb and carbon reinforced glass
Oh
fibre.
bloody hell! Okay.
Turbocharged
On a
2
H reg. Or is that what they... Oh, okay. carry on.
Turbocharged 2-litre Cosworth engine with a Borg Warner T5, all four-wheel drive.
Aidborn has posted the ambulance.
Does 6.8 to 60, top speed of 144. How much?
I could, like, let's be fair. Specs never correlate with price.
11 in the UK. That's all that is left.
No idea.
100 grand.
What?
Yours for £100,000. Yeah, that's and the thing is, if you look at it from the front with eyes closed, if you look at it from like the 3/4 on, eyes closed, it's okay. I'm all right with it. If you look at it from the front, eyes open, it's definitely a look.
It is, yeah, I'll give you that. It is definitely a look.
Here's where your 100 grand seems to feel like a terrible idea. Oh, apparently
That's the wrong window. Yeah, just in that in-between, in that transitory, yeah.
No, that's not transitory.
Oh, is that where it got stuck?
No,
That's it
just,
deployed. That is
yes.
actually the... Oh, my God.
That is deployed.
That seems a bit lazy. I'll be honest. I mean, I get it. Like, when you've got that shape, you probably can't really make it two-sided.
Yeah.
But maybe you just shouldn't have made that shape.
The rear
Like, that was just...
The rear 3/4 apparently
You
wants
keep
to
sending
open
stuff the wrong space.
on my main screen, not this one. Rear 3/4, really not bad. I've seen worse. We saw that PT Cruiser. We've seen worse.
True. That's true. I mean, if that's where you put the bar, though, sorry, I think because I'm disappearing for a minute.
It's an extremely low bar. Don't get me wrong.
Subterranean.
So yeah, and yes, a car to be driven with a guide dog. Yes, after asking 70k worth 70p. Sure, and there are more crimes in Discord. I'm sure there are. There are always more crimes in Discord. Oh, are your crimes your Scumrun Previa? Because your Scumrun Previa is perfectly reasonable, all things considered. That is a completely reasonable vehicle for its purpose. I can't see anything wrong with anything. Yes, it is very... There are bits of GTO, there are bits of Testarossa in there, there are bits of all sorts in there that just shouldn't be. But yes, yeah, I think the Previa worked really good. The winner events, yeah. The 1922 Doctorb. The extra B is for bargain. Everybody loves it. Yeah, I think that's absolutely fit for purpose. There is nothing wrong with that whatsoever. There are many things wrong with a great many other things that people have made.
It does feel a little bit harsh to be like calling other people out for bad.
Oh yeah, but I mean, so somebody commented on one of the videos going, I hate to say it, but your car really does look like a bit of an ugly duckling. And I went, you aren't wrong. It is a bit of an ugly duckling. Like, there are points at which you look at it and you go, I'm not a fan of that.
I will say, I think overall it's quite well proportioned.
Yes,
like
overall it works.
Yeah.
For a given value.
Have you talked about the ambulance yet, by the way?
Yes.
Oh, cool. I literally just looked at it a second ago.
Yes. The crimes are mostly internal. Hang on. I will pull up a picture of the interior. Oh, wow. Okay.
Sorry, the interior. Oh, is this the ambulance?
Yes. Hopefully that will just open on top. It did!
I do like the proper radio.
It's the nice CB...
Why does it have a server rack in the back?
Nice CB radio.
Oh, it's a camped... Oh my God. Sorry, we'll get to that in a second. I'm busy scrolling through Discord and looking at it.
It has, in fact, got a server rack mounted in the back.
Just because that's what someone had rails for. I mean, that's not surprising, given our friends. But...
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, it works.
It does.
Yeah. Is that... Why did you have a pull-out... Is that a pull-out drawer for a table? Is that why you did it?
That'll be rack rails.
No, I know that, but why would you mount that in the back of the car?
Oh, to use as a table. Yeah, it was.
Yes, you
sorry,
needed an extended table.
As an extendable table.
Extendable table, non-flammable. Yeah, okay, fair enough. And that's, what, a Dell 2U? Looks like a 2U server of some flavour. Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty solid use for
respect it.
Yeah. I have no real qualms. I don't think that's a crime. That's
Is this the part where we start referring to like servers that are so old and useless? Well, sorry, so old and decrepit as to be useless. It's the part
Deployable
where we start
tables.
calling them tables.
Yeah. We could use one of the 1Us that I've got kicking around.
Yeah.
Because that has full-length extendable rails that go on it. In fact, I have many of them. I could just cut down something and make a wooden table that does that, but, you know, that's not as funny as having a server. We could have that. You know, we have the 2 trailer hitches on the back. We could have them
Yes,
so that they
yeah.
pull out in either direction, so that you have an extendable table that goes out both sides of the car. It would be a travesty. It would be an awful thing, but it would also be very funny. It would also put a huge amount of weight hanging off the very back. And yes, as Sparky said, that would be a little bit like wings. Now with wings, yeah, basically that. It just, you deploy it out, oh, I need more downforce, it's fine. We just deploy 2 Dell
You got to have it on a Super Pursuit mode
400,
switch.
yes, 400 series servers just deploy out the back for extra traction. Or you put them the other way for extra lift, depending on what you really need in life. Which, I'm sure that's what everybody needs.
YouTube's helpfully notified me that PedalBox is live.
That's
Thank
cool.
you, YouTube.
Oh, I've noticed we've got the tangent counter up as well.
Yeah, we're
Oh,
only on 2.
yeah.
I feel like we're failing.
I think we're well off. Actually, no, it feels like we're more off on more than 2, but I have been going to my my document of MISC links and things that I found in the last couple of weeks and pulled stuff out. So yeah, I mean, it's probably not as many tangents. I mean, we are on a major tangent because we meant to be doing some additional CAD work, and I took some measurements and then forgot to write them down. So I'm mostly doing this from memory.
Smart.
So that you can try and build the panels that go on the back of our rear lights, because it's a very simple thing to do.
Oh, yeah, the little cover panels. Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
In theory, it's maybe it's not. It's not quite as simple as I thought it. It's still pretty simple, but the problem is, from the dimensions that I have, it doesn't start simple at all. You're building sketches on sketches on sketches to try and build it out to what needs to be.
It's fine. I've got a rough idea of how to like actually do that without completely
Yes.
well, without shooting myself in both feet. I think I can like keep it
Yeah.
limited to 1 foot gun.
Okay. So
I don't suppose you've got the dimensions written down, have you?
I've got 2 dimensions written down.
Okay.
And that's
That's a
basically
start.
it. So, okay, start with a square, 75 wide.
And 75 tall, since you called it a square, I assume.
Start with a rectangle,
Right.
75 mil wide, and I will calculate what we need for the height.
I seem to remember it being like 110 or something in total.
Well, no, it needs to be,
110
more than
internal.
that. No, it's 100 internal to go around the
Yeah.
hole, but it actually needs to go up higher than that to clip
Because
over the bit
Which
at the
camera
top.
have we got? We've got that camera on. Basically, we want something that when you look across the car... So, hang on. Context. Looking at the back of the car, you've got tail lights here and here. Behind the tail lights, we've got little boxes that basically contain the cable connectors and a little bit of...
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it like mounting, but they're sort of like alignment aids, I guess you could call them.
It's got 2 holes and they screw through,
Yeah.
and that's as good as it gets
So-
for angling the lights for where they
We're
need
on
to
this
be.
camera now. Excellent. Right, so in the back of the car, we've got the tail light here, and then moving forward, so like in front of the tail light where it sits on, there's a little piece of rectangular box about that sort of size that's open-ended at the front, and that's where all of our wires come into to actually power the lights and everything. And our thinking is, because these boxes are inside the rear wheel arches, although we've got wheel arch liners in there that should, in theory, keep them mostly clean and safe and, you know, protected from rain and everything, we should probably cover over the fronts of these boxes just so that we haven't got, like, exposed electrical connectors inside the arch.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice to have some semblance of...
It would. Helping us on this. So on the box that we've got coming sort of, you know, tube thing, brain, words, they're hard. This happens whenever I look at the camera. I lose the ability to words whenever I'm looking at the camera. Anyway, so we've got this little piece of box coming out the front of the light, and to hold the box in shape, on the top and bottom edges of it, we've got a little piece of that 10mm round tube that we've been using on so many other like edges and lips on the car, just to give it a bit of extra rigidity. So we're going to use the top one as like a... So we've got our box, and there's a tube at the top here that we're going to try and hook onto over the top, and then there's another one on the bottom that we're going to try and sort of clip around a little bit. So that's the plan. So the piece that I'm going to make basically is going to be a plate with a little sort of hook on the top and a little clip on the bottom that should hook over the top tube, clip on the bottom, and then around the sides it should just sit over the box. I hope that's a decent description. Describing shapes is hard, I've discovered.
Yes.
Describing shapes to aid in person when we have bits of car to reference is hard. Doing it to a YouTube camera with no reference is even harder.
It's fine, because that's not helpful. That is a side view of the box.
Yeah, so this is what's on the car looking from the side.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the tube at the top is a structural member that holds the lights in place. That's effectively the top mount, which we want to hook something over, so it sits over the top of here. In fact, I'm just going to draw it in a multi thing. So it comes up, across, goes down like that, under and up through there. Which obviously this is going to be deeply angry because I've now got another bit on, so I'm just going to leave the mouse pointer there.
Right click.
But basically, that sits on and clips underneath. Where it goes over the top will be fixed. That's a piece of the 10mm tube that we've used on so much of the car. And then the small round at the bottom, that's 4mm, and that will be the kind of friction clip where it basically just friction pushes over with a 0.5mm tolerance, so it just goes and drops in theory. So,
well, in theory and practice are the same.
yes.
In practice, however,
Now, the distance from the top of this 10mm tube down to here. Oh, now I doubt myself.
can you not remember what you measured?
No.
I mean, the car doesn't have the cover on. In theory, I could just walk out and measure it now.
It'll be fine. It's dark.
Yeah, true. The other thing is, if we get it wrong, we can't just scale the print.
Yes, exactly. So,
easy.
yes. So the inside of this box is 100mm tall and 70mm wide. So that's what this thing needs to sit over top of. So the plan is to have sort of side panels that come down and enclose it from weather getting in from the side. The top will hook over the round bar. So you'll put it on at the top and then clip it down into the bottom, and it will just literally bump over this little 4mm rod at the bottom, which doesn't actually go all the way across either. And I don't know how far it does go across.
Can I make you feel really sad?
Yeah.
We've got 4 viewers right now.
It's probably all of them us.
2 of them are us. I'm guessing one of them's going to be Aidborn.
Yes.
And the other one's probably Cabe.
We have been going for a couple of hours, so it's probably fair. If you're in chat, shout.
Please.
Okay, so
okay, we've got.
there's 3.
It might be miscounting.
Yeah, I suspect it's just not keeping up particularly well.
Oh, we've obviously got hundreds of viewers.
Oh, definitely.
It's just
Yeah, okay. Okay, so that's at least 5 in there, which is interesting. What is... Yeah, YouTube Analytics is convinced that it's just 4 people.
love it.
Despite the fact that Aid, Greg, Emma, Ronald is in there, Jess is in there. I think I'm in here. Well, I've got a channel in here as well, so that should be at least 6.
Ah, well.
That doesn't seem like you're doing a particularly good job of counting, but okay, fair enough.
Counting's one of the easiest things in the world. It never ceases to amaze me how many websites can't do it.
Yeah, it says 4 for Ronald as well. Fine. So yeah, so that's kind of what we need to make. And from memory, as I say, the box is 100 by 70, which means the total height to where the clip over the top needs to be 110. And the gap between the front and back should probably be like 111, really. Sorry, it should be 11mm, so that it's actually big enough to go over with tolerance. I mean, if you can put a radius on it, so much the better. But make it properly hook and then nice and solid.
Oh, that's the plan. Yeah.
So yeah, so that would be nice. And then at the bottom, it needs to probably be 105mm. Yeah, I'd say 105 because it's inevitably wrong. For tolerance, and we can shim anything else with a little bit of rubber to stop it rattling.
Or just reprint it at like 2% smaller.
If we need to, yeah. We've got to make 2, so we'll make 1, check it, same as you did with this. Make 1, check it, if it works, print another.
Yep.
And yeah, the side, it needs to be 70mm ID, so you probably want to be like 75 with a 2.5mm wall.
I'm just going to assume that D definitely stood for dimension, not diameter.
Internal dimension?
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally normal use of ID and OD.
Yeah. It is when you use it wrong.
Any initialism means anything when you use it wrong enough.
Yes.
I
So,
did
yeah.
unmute myself, right? Yeah, I did. Good.
So yes, that is that's basically what we need to make, and we need to make 2 of them so they clip over, and that will finish off all of the rear lights because they're now in.
Yep.
We've repositioned the lower lights, so next week's episode coming out will be us basically going through electrics. Today we did electrics because it was a really nice sunny day, and we decided to spoil it.
We're not allowed nice things.
Yeah, we decided to spoil our nice day by pouring through all of the horrible electrics that we've ignored for, what, 2-3 years now, give or take, something like that?
Yeah, so I think like nearly 3. Actually,
So-
no, hang on. So just after I got back from the first lockdown, what did we do after that? Because
That was when we- yeah, that-
putting the
That was when we
framework on.
redid, because we had one set.
yeah.
We had one set of electrics. We stripped that back out because it was the AGU loom, which
Yeah, it
is
was the old
so
loom from
far
the A3.
different. So we had to pull that and put the BAM loom in. So yeah, we redid that 2021. So, okay, cool. So we've been ignoring this problem for 2 years now.
Sorry, I'm not being antisocial. I'm just looking through my murder to see.
And
When I've got
basically,
wiring.
the problem is we stripped all the stuff out like we did before, which was fine. We got all of that stuff sorted, and then kind of ignored the problem, and then did a lot of cutting and grinding and welding and spraying and everything around everywhere.
August 2020.
August 2020 was it?
TT.
That was when we pulled it from the TT, but I don't think that's when we stripped it and installed it.
We stripped it on the 15th of August. We started stripping it on the 15th of August.
Neat. Okay, cool.
I'll put these in Discord now. In
So,
the,
yeah,
in
so-
the stream channel.
So that was. So that's how long we've been ignoring the problem. Coming up on it is coming up on 3 years. It's a solid 2.5, nearly 2 3/4 years. Go us! And we've done all of this work and grinding and painting and all the rest of it. And the big question we have been avoiding is, what do we do if the entire fuse box is full of rust and like speckles of ground off material that has just gone everywhere when we've been flapping? So we've done. I was going to say we've done our best to try and keep it out of the car. We really haven't. We could have done way better. But what we found last night we went through and basically poked and prodded it as best we possibly could with a multimeter and started working out what was and wasn't shorting. And what we found was nothing has got a short. I did blow it out with the
You say nothing.
compressor.
Nothing we've tested.
Nothing we've tested so
That's an
far.
important
fair
caveat.
point. Nothing we've tested so far, which includes all the headlights, high beam, low beam. We haven't done side lights, but we'll ignore them. Indicators, rear lights, rear indicators, reverse light,
this
fog
is 3
light,
years ago.
and fuel pump. Although we haven't actually run the fuel pump because we established that, yes, we now have relearned where the connector is. It was the one that I thought it was. But actually, I don't want to pull that plug apart yet because it has the fuel sender in, and I want to keep all of those together until we pull that apart. So that will be another future episode. But basically, there is, I don't know, maybe a 40-minute episode of us just staring blankly at bits of wiring and wiring
It
diagram
could easily
going,
be
oh
40
God.
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, if we don't speed anything up or cut anything out too much.
I think we shot like 50, 55 minutes or something today.
Yeah, probably. And there weren't that many retakes.
No.
There wasn't even that many bits where we went,
Apart from you
no,
explaining
that
the
was
rear fog
wrong.
light,
Yeah,
which took like 5 or 6 goes.
that was mostly because the first one I screwed up. The second one, the power died on my transmitter. The third one, the power died on the transmitter. Oh no, the third one was a redo of the second one because I was trying to make it a bit more succinct because it was, the first go was like 4 minutes long, and then I got it down to 3 minutes long, and then I got it down to 2 minutes 40. It was like, this is brilliant.
Brevity is hard.
Brevity is hard. And then we discovered that both the second and third take, I had no mic on because the batteries had died in my transmitter. So we had to do take 4, which I then decided I could do take 5 better and get a little bit more brevity. And I think we ended up at take 6, which was more information in less time than any other take.
Yep.
But it was still longer than 2.5.
Compression is good.
It was 3 and a bit minutes. So yeah.
So yeah,
that's
I've just been
that's not
dumping a
too
couple of
bad.
images in Discord.
Okay.
And yeah, all of these are basically from like within the span of like 3 days or something. In
Right.
the middle-ish of August 2020.
Oh God, it was so it was so bare.
It was so clean.
It was
Look
very
how clean
clean.
it all was.
Wow.
Like, you look at that wiring loom and it's like, oh my god, like it's all visibly yellow and red and green, and now it's all just this horrible, like, black, rusty primary mess.
I think that's because we just put it on the spit and we were rebuilding it up.
I think the spit was after this.
Or was this
I think
just
the spit was
before?
a good way after. Yeah, if I...
It's possible.
Let's see, just go back to my album. Oh god. Any... here's one I got to drop in. I saw a picture that was quite like this a while ago, of someone using a whole bunch of like little tiny test leads to contact onto some microchip.
This is
it was like any sufficiently advanced data recovery operation is indistinguishable from some kind of like occult ritual.
Yes.
And I've just dropped a lot of paper clips stuffed into an ECU connector from when I was trying to figure out like which pin went to something. Because like you can't actually probe into the pins.
That was a horrendous thing to see.
Yeah. So the spit roast, we actually put the car on the spit at the beginning of 2021.
Oh yes,
so
of course, because we built it. Yeah, I've got one here.
So that's going in stream chat now as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember building it in like. Yeah, I remember building it at the end of winter, and then we put it up.
So this is this was me trying to figure out what pin on the ECU was what.
Is that ECU? That's not ECU.
Oh, that might have been instrument cluster.
That's instrument cluster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting day.
It was a pretty horrendous day.
I'm not sure how long it had been on the spit at this point.
It was only on the spit for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it went pretty quickly.
And then before that, we've got the very, very clean, freshly installed.
Because I have.
Look how good it looked.
We put this on the spit.
Oh, that's depressing to remember.
Admittedly, I don't know why it's not showing me the dates that these pictures were taken. But yeah, it pretty quickly came off the spit and went back down onto axle stands.
Yeah.
Because we started putting bodywork on and trying to bend the bodywork on the thing. Once we got the centre tunnel in, we took it back off and did some painting. Which
so I'm just going to keep on scrolling till I see it off the spit.
I've got pictures of it almost instantly coming back off.
Yeah.
Like within weeks.
So I've got 28th of March it was still on, and by the 10th of April it was off. 10th of April, by the way, is when we had the very shocked face at the back of the tunnel.
Yes.
Which I'll pop that in chat now as well. Is that the one that made it into an emoji in the server?
Yes, it is.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, that has been up a couple of times.
I hate the word emoji. I don't know why I caved in to say it.
Emoticon. There is no
emoticon.
emoticon.
Feels even worse now, doesn't it? I don't.
But emoticon at least is from the early days.
Yeah, true.
So
is me hating the word emoji just like ingrained racism or something? Like, is this genuinely just me going Japanese or something, like, without meaning to?
So let me see, where was I? Oh no, it was a different picture that made it into.
Wow, the first bodywork went on.
Yeah. Just
that
after it came
long
off the
ago?
spit, yeah. We did the centre tunnel and then we started putting in the very hard stuff,
Yeah.
bending around into the intercooler ducts.
I remember, sorry, I'm just sharing more pictures into the stream chat. I remember taking this picture, he says, waiting.
Hi, Loki.
Waiting. I remember taking this picture and being immensely proud of how that line had turned out.
Yes.
Like, I was like, yes, that, just the last couple of feet of that, the way it slash cuts past the lights, the height of the bottom of the panel and everything, I was like, that is perfect.
Yep.
That is everything I dreamed for the back of this car to look like. We did extend that afterward. In the end, we did send that down quite a bit further, I think.
It's only down, no. We chopped
we cut it up to that,
we
didn't
chopped
we?
the frame to fit that because we did the maths on how far round it needed to be for the IVA and went, fine.
Yep.
So it is exactly that. That makes sense, Aid. But yes, I was.
And then by October, we had the rear hoop on over the engine bay.
Yep. We made really fast progress throwing bodywork at the back of that, and then went, I really don't want to do the back. Sorry, I don't want to do the front. The front is going to be hard, and we left it for a while, and we
I maintain, I do still think we charged ahead too fast with the bodywork. If you're ever building a car in your driveway, do the wiring first, get it running first, test all the mechanical stuff first, and then
put sheet metal on.
Yes, it was a lot of it. I'd been staring at it for 12 months.
Yeah,
over
you were
lockdown,
itching
where I was
to-
just like,
yeah.
I've been looking and trying to fathom this bodywork as stuff to do for too long, and I have to get some of it
I
on.
keep tabbing off of the.
Whilst I am trying to kind of envisage how this is going to go, and I was like, I have to put the bodywork on to see where this is going, to work out other bits and where other things are going to go.
I need to get more old pictures of the car popped into Discord so that I can.
They are slowly going up. If you can dump the rest of them over to me, they are going up chronologically, like 5 years late on Instagram.
Okay,
In fact,
give
it's
me a
probably about
second.
6 years
I
late
have
now.
350 of them.
Good.
Okay.
I don't have as many as that, so that works perfectly fine for me.
I've
so
also
long as I
also
get-
been really slack on taking pictures recently. The last pictures I have
Yeah.
in my Murder Wagon album are from when the diffuser went on.
Wow, that was November.
Yeah. No, I have got
November?
a few pictures since
think
then.
it
I just
was
haven't
November.
put them in, but it's not many.
Yeah. So, yeah, that is. Oh, hang on. Let me. So that is the shape that we need to make to go onto the back of where the lights fit. So if you want to start having a go at that,
In a minute.
or I mean, the other option is I might try and pull it down over. But that's okay. Yes. So that's one bit that we need. The other piece that we're going to get printed up soon is the center air vent, so that we can fit that and make that work. That will finish off all of the dashboard stuff underneath. But actually, the one at the bottom is the least critical because it's so far away from all of the wiring, from all of the dashboard panels and everything else. As long as we have the top ones in and the dash vent itself, which obviously we have, we can make everything else work, which is extremely good. Mostly because... oh, did somebody ask about the sump earlier?
Yes, Ronnie Reagan asked about
Oh.
the sump.
What about it?
What's it from?
That's the Mark II sump. That's the old sump that we took off. And the reason that we took this sump off and put a new sump on... I'm just trying not to destroy this. I intersected with a bridge at pace, which is why this whole section you can see. So it should, by and large, it should be that shape. It should come
You
across.
might say your sump entered into aggressive negotiations
Yes.
with the tarmac.
Yes. So it should be that shape basically, and instead it has a lot more dents. You can see here it should be this height all the way across, and I'm just going to use. Oh, I can use that. That's perfect. That's how far the bottom of it was caved in. Which, if I wasn't using the vernier as a straight edge to demonstrate and give me a level, I would actually be able to show you a little bit better. But yeah, it was quite badly caved. I mean, I can get a thumb underneath the vernier into the hole that has been made, where basically the whole side of it along this edge buckled really, really badly. It went down front first and went in, down. On its way through, it scraped the plug, so the sump plug now only has
4 faces, was it?
one.
Is this the one that
two-
the crankshaft then beat back into approximately the right shape?
Well,
no, that was
no,
your baffled one that did that.
No, I
wasn't it?
never had a baffled one. I thought this was baffled because of the noise
Right,
it
okay.
made when I hit when I landed. Because it wasn't. The problem was I didn't really hit the bridge so much as I hit the bridge at 90 miles an hour, and it was a little bit more crested than I expected. And I jumped, and I went back and I found both the crest mark of the bridge, obviously, and also where the gearbox gouged into the tarmac, where the tyres compressed, the suspension gave everything it possibly had, and the sump really ate it pretty spectacularly.
However, to answer White Knight's question, it didn't. I think you said the crank beat it back into shape.
No, the crank didn't touch it. I
Oh,
don't.
right, okay.
I genuinely don't know
No,
what it
that
was.
noise would have
What
been.
it
Okay.
what it was.
So yeah, it
Because
didn't
I
get anything
thought.
inside and didn't puncture it.
Yeah, didn't puncture it. Steel, not aluminium, so it didn't shatter either. I thought it was baffled, and that's what was hitting it, and it wasn't beating it back into shape. It was just hitting whatever was there and just wearing away the baffle.
Right. Okay.
And then not long afterwards, I dropped the oil. There was absolutely no glitter in it, and I went, okay.
Man, if only the other
It
time you
seems
dropped
to
the oil was
work.
like that.
But yeah, when you look inside, the light really catches just how badly buckled
Yeah.
that is in that side. It's the better part of 3/4 of an inch
Yeah.
dented on this side. Unfortunately, the oil pickup pipe is stamped into the bottom.
I'm genuinely surprised that didn't give.
Not
It's only held
only-
in by 2 relatively small
Yep.
screws. The amount of leverage on it, you'd think it'd rip the screws out.
It's near to a little village called Aldermaston, and you would think it's this really small bridge.
Like
which
a little
you'd
steep
think it was
humpback,
a
yeah.
little steep humpback bridge that goes over, but no, this was over a railway line. So this was a long flowing bridge, and I thought, oh, I can't be going that fast. I normally only get into 3rd gear, and I'm doing sort of 60 mile an hour, and I really go for it. And I didn't change out of 3rd gear. I went 1st, 2nd, I got into 3rd, and I just kept powering up and powering up and powering and powered all the way through. It turns out top of 3rd gear is about 90. So I left and came down, pulled over, looked at it, and went, well, it's not leaking. I guess it's fine.
Send it.
Fortunately, I'm sure there is a statute of limitations on that, and that would have been either 10 or 12 years ago now. So I think I'm fine.
It was also the last time you drove the Golf.
No, I've
I
driven
know.
it plenty times since then. More importantly, they've demolished the bridge and rebuilt it, so there's no more evidence
Right.
anymore. Which,
Oh, it's just hearsay at this
yeah,
point.
it's just hearsay and conjecture. But yes, so that's what the sump came off, and we cleaned it out and cleaned it out and cleaned it out because it's quite impressive. In the flesh, it is quite impressive. At some point, when we take the Golf to a car show or something, I'll bring this along so people can see it if they make it down. Which hopefully, what everybody should be doing is making plans to come up to Reading to Prospect Park Car Show, the Berkshire Car Show, on the 2nd of July. Because
there is no way the Rover's going to be done for that.
no, but the Thunderbird will hopefully be running for that, and
You reckon?
we'll take the kit car round again for
You're going
that.
to have to air freight that starter relay over. Okay.
They always air freight it. It's just
Oh,
a
is that
question
just
of
the default? Okay.
just a question of when it arrives. The downside will be, well, yes, you have to come down to Reading, and Vix is confirming yes, 2nd of July, which is another person that's watching and still not counting any more people. So yes, we can get the kit car round there. The kit car round there on a trailer again, hopefully.
Kit bashed car.
Yes, the kit bashed car. And the Thunderbird, that would be pretty cool to get those two out. And I'm going to see if I can get any more people to come down. It'd be really cool if we can get Laurie over. I know he was trying to work it out for last year and he couldn't.
Yeah.
So we'll see if we can get him down for this year, and we can just set up like a little YouTube corner. The other cool thing that we might feasibly be able to do with all of our newfangled technology, thanks to Jess, is not only broadcast from the show, theoretically, with a portable unit, as long as we can get a little sort of 2 kilowatt Jenny to run a couple of bits off.
I should be able to borrow one. We've got a 3 kilowatt inverter generator back home.
Oh, that's perfect then.
So-
Yeah, that'll run everything we need. Because we can run the cameras on battery and just close the screens, and that will work fine. So we'd be able to do like an hour show from Berkshire Car Show. And because we've got the Terra deck, we can wander and have a look around some of the
Yes.
other bits of the show.
Yes.
So we can have a couple of people there talking about what it is. And then, yeah, we could actually go on a wander around the park and broadcast from it. And I think that would be cool. That would be extremely cool to be able to try and do.
Yeah.
So that is the goal for 2nd of July, is to have live from the Berkshire Car Show. And if we manage to pull it off, I mean, it's going to be scrappy. The production values are going to be sketchy because we won't have ever done anything.
We've never done field broadcast.
We've
have
never
we?
done a field broadcast. Certainly, literally from a field. Like I've done OB from other locations and things, but I've never done
Oh.
it from a field.
Aidborn's offered a 2 kilowatt
Yeah, he's got a 2
generator.
kilowatt as
Yeah.
well. So let's go with both, just in case.
Yes.
I've got Starlink for it.
Yeah, of course, because you've ordered one as well.
Okay.
A bunch of us have just recently ordered Starlinks as well, by the way.
Okay, cool. So we should be able to get internet easy, because that's the only question I had.
Yeah.
Was how to get it across mobile network to make it work. Yes, 2nd of July. Yeah, 2nd of June is a Friday because I'm at work on the 2nd of June. Yeah, so 2nd of July is Sunday. So yes, I think it would be really, really neat. We'll probably do a test stream in here on the mobile equipment the night before, just to make sure that everything works. So sort of somewhat de-rig out of what we've got here, plug everything into the test rig. We'll just put the test rig in here as another character. And then see what we can get to actually do the things, because that would be quite cool to make that work. It's long been a goal to be able to do that the week before. No,
Yes.
the night before. I mean, that's not saying we might not do one the week before as well. That's just to say that we'll definitely do one the night before.
Yeah, so we probably will have a stream the week before, because that's roughly when I'm going to be up here.
Yes.
Because I'm trying for like a roughly 1 month cadence on my trips up. Actually, that's probably going to have to change, depending when my new job starts.
Yes.
Because which itself is a bit of a how long's a piece of string, so
Yes.
I've got to go through SC.
Yes.
But once I've done that,
That can take months.
it can. I kind of hope it doesn't,
Yes, I
but
bet.
it can.
Yeah.
So for that, I have to be in South Wales 2 days a week.
Yes.
So what I might try and do is, can I do a Swansea day?
Yes.
Come up here, like for the last day of the week, do Swansea
Yes.
for whatever's my last Swansea day of
Yeah.
the week. Come up here, work remote here.
Yes.
Then have a weekend here. Then work remote here. Then go back to Swansea and then go home.
Please, please. Yes.
Not Saturday 24th. You
What?
have no vision mixer.
Okay. So yeah, well that works fine, because we can do it during the week. When you like the night that you come up after work, we'll just throw something ghetto together and,
Yeah.
and see if we can make it work. What's?
Car.
Oh yeah, we could actually do it on the drive by the car, and
That'd be
just
the
have-
sensible, because that's like
Yes.
a proper trial by fire way of attempting that, isn't it?
Yeah, we just put the cameras on tripods on the other side of the picnic table, and we just do it outside for an hour before it gets dark and see if we can make it work.
Yeah.
That does seem pretty reasonable. That seems fairly doable. Yes, Greg's Chinese visa story.
Do you know this story? 'Cause
I
be
do.
Tangent 7.
I do, but I'm not going to tell it, because I
Okay.
won't tell it anywhere near as Greg will.
Fair enough.
And he can tell you in person.
So what I'm hearing is we need Greg on stream one day.
Yes.
Because man's got stories.
Yeah, he's got the story of when his Merc exploded its brake system mid-roundabout in Newbury and ejected all of the fluid onto all of the road because the piston came out of the caliper. He can tell you why when he comes over.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, that'll be pretty good. So if we can get, well, it's basically 4 weeks from now is the 24th.
Yeah.
So it'll be just after that. So we'll try and get another stream of just me CADing around, maybe doing some of the ample Lego sets with with Emmy to try and get that working.
I have just identified a problem with having Greg on stream. We'll have an actual engineer in our midst.
Oh dear. Oh no. A lot of them are burnt after reading. Well, yeah. I don't know, Greg. Do you consider yourself an actual engineer? I mean, is that overstating it a
feel
little
like
bit?
he makes electromechanical things for a living. I think at
Yes.
that point, okay, I don't know if he's qualified, but even if he isn't, definitely more engineer than us. By a very wide margin.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, he does 3D print things for a living. I mean, that's pretty much bona fide engineer, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's just plastic or metal, it seems perfectly reasonable. So yes, that would be deeply entertaining if we can get that to work. We'll do an OB from the cars outside sometime.
Oh, okay, he has no letters after his name. But...
So okay,
Can you be a chartered engineer without having letters? I genuinely have no idea. This is
24th,
how much of an
is that
engineer
GP?
I'm not.
No, I've got something in London.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Okay, so so if you're doing two days that week, if you do like the Monday, Tuesday.
I don't get to pick them.
Oh,
okay. That's the killer.
Right.
Because the whole point is like everyone comes into the office for the same day so that we can
okay.
like, actually
Oh, right.
collaborate.
That actually that makes a lot
Yeah.
more sense. So yeah,
I seem to remember it being Tuesday and Thursday. Although there may be some room for flexibility. But if it's Tuesday and Thursday, that means I can go to the office Thursday, come here Thursday evening, go back to the office Tuesday, and go
Yes.
home after
Yes.
that.
So that does become the first test stream is the 30th, 2 days before live, which
Love
at least
it.
gives us Saturday to fix the
Yeah.
problems and try again.
There's
But-
nothing quite like good planning. And this
is
is
nothing
quite
like good planning. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be so. Hopefully, test stream either Thursday night late as a cobble it together and see if it works, depending on
Yeah.
what time you can get over here, or Friday night as a proper test.
Yeah. My guess would be I'd probably be out of there 5:30-ish.
5:30,
Like, 'cause it'll be normal office hours.
2.5 hours to get across here. If we had everything set up and rigged, so you just walked onto set,
Yeah.
we could easily get an hour ready. No. We need all the help we can get to make it work.
I need to build
So,
a
yeah.
production flight case then.
Yes. so yes, we can make that work on the Thursday, test it,
Yeah.
and then we've got 2 days to unbreak whatever doesn't work, ready for Sunday.
Okay.
That does mean we need to get a lot of episodes sorted whilst you're up now,
Yeah.
and or
To
before
give
you're
us that
over.
kind of room, yeah. Do we still want to film the GTFO? Of course we want to film the
Oh
GTFO.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. I've got plans on that. Don't worry. That's ticking over. Essentially, that's coming early June. I'm working the 2nd and I'm working on the 5th, but I have that whole weekend is empty.
I
So
feel quite bad now.
I'm
'cause
going
I've
to
actually
try
just-
and do that.
I've just realised the last thing I know about the GTFO is from when it went to the ring with us and it blew an oil line. on the track.
Yes.
And I can't even remember whether it got fixed after that. And I was there when it either got fixed or didn't. I have no idea where that car's at these days.
That I seem to recall it got ghetto fixed. Oh, there's a mosquito on the
you know
roof.
what? I remember it went into a garage and he got charged through the
It was
nose
fixed in
for
inverted
something.
commas.
Yeah. That's exactly what Pawn just said. It was fixed.
Yes.
And then fixed.
And then,
okay,
yeah,
cool.
I know it got ghetto fixed out there. We kind of made it work, cobbling bits and pieces together.
No, I thought it got properly done, like for silly money at a garage, and then failed again not long after. I think.
The
My
car likes
memory
to
is
book itself
rubbish,
into
so-
spa weekend. Yes, I spent a day sitting on the floor in the garage. Wow. Yeah, I bet. I bet. And I still can't comprehend how that engine holds as much heat as it does. Because Aid came over to help with the Thunderbird bonnet
Remember
the
saying
first
it was
time we
hours.
painted it.
Hours and hours.
And it was still noticeably warm, like warm cup of tea,
Yeah.
warm to the touch, about 6 hours after he arrived.
I mean, I
And
know
that
that,
was
like, as it cools
absolutely
down,
mental.
it's obviously going to cool down slower because there's less heat gradient, blah, blah, blah.
This was
But even
uncomfortable to touch
yeah.
after 6 hours still.
Jesus.
And that was the manifold. That wasn't like
So-
the block or anything else. Like that was the big alley manifold.
The thing that I'm reminded of, right, is my brother a little while ago got an E92 3 Series.
Yes, coupe.
Yeah. And that is fully sealed all around all the
Yep.
edges, and there's a ton of insulation and everything.
And it's got a floor.
Yeah.
It's got a shield.
So it's obviously very, very enclosed, very isolated. And it's not just like this is obviously the bonnet skin of metal. Like the bonnet is like multi-layered
Yes,
and then
yes.
there's isolation under
Yep.
it and everything. So there's a huge amount of like blanketing around the engine.
Yeah.
Is the GTO just like that? Where it's just like it's basically being hugged on all sides by insulation to keep warm? Because it
it's-
is a bit older, obviously.
It's not even that much insulation. You look
No.
under the bonnet and you go, oh, okay. I mean,
Is
I
it an
guess
iron block?
there's some insulation. I think it's iron. I think it's iron block, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly. Please hold, caller.
Oh, apparently it's pretty open. It's just
Oh, it just falls. There's no. I'm getting.
Yeah,
probably
it's
just
don't
no
get me
room
wrong.
for air
It's
to get
just
through and,
it's just really really tight in there. So the engine is not helpful.
Right. Good.
The
Oh.
6G. Oh, hi Loki.
Do you remember a while ago?
6G72. Hang on.
Oh,
which
sorry.
is
Yeah. In the middle of a thonk.
If everything goes well, I might have an interesting
Water-cooled,
car by the
right,
2nd of
okay.
July, a TVR or a Cobra.
yes. These
How
are
do you
all-
not know which?
I mean, you've got to make a decision at some point, and if you haven't made
Or
that
make
decision,
one. Do it.
okay. There's no mention of iron.
I'm just being blocked out by Lokes. I love it.
Hey, buddy, please don't step in my computer.
Okay, so it had.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, it just hasn't decided. I mean, to be fair,
Low profile
that is a pretty
cast
tough
aluminium
decision.
Heads.
I'd have a hard time.
Like, I don't want to say it's a slam dunk for the Trevor, but if you want to actually drive the car,
I mean, yeah. Fortunately, we know people who know how to fix Trevors.
that's true.
which is very convenient. Crucially, we know people who restore Trevors.
I will say
anything that goes wrong with it can be fixed.
One of
Although
my
his
favourite
Trevor
little-
never did get fixed because it was his car, and a mechanic's
Yes.
car is never fixed.
One of my favourite Trevor anecdotes was we were going back from Airport Cafe at Stratland, and we passed no less than 3 TVRs coming the other way. And 2 people in the car, I can't remember who I was in the car with, but 2 of us in the car simultaneously said, "Oh, that's like every working TVR in the country's come out to play today."
I mean, you're not wrong. So,
Okay, yeah, if it's a Chimera, it will, like, just work.
Yes. Yeah,
The Rover V8 is, like, one of the few things in TVRs that didn't really tend to break all that
yeah,
much.
it's pretty much, it is reasonably
It's
bomb-proof.
a good engine. I
We
respect it.
took, I say I didn't take it. Part of the group that I went to the Nürburgring with
Yeah.
had a Tuscan, the 6-speed, the 6-pot. And he just put it back into TVR for a full overhaul,
The Speed
lots
6
of
is such a
service,
magical engine. I love it.
all good work done to it.
Yeah.
And it was boiling over on track. It was pumping water out of it.
I remember the story.
And he rang up TVR. Having tried to look at this a few times, we had the airbox off to see if there was some reason it was overheating. So we had the airbox off for more ventilation around it, so it was just open butterflies to the world.
I bet that sounded incredible.
It was so good. I still have a DV tape with the recording of it on, and I have no means to get it off because the RAID drive died long ago. And when the RAID card failed, it took 3 mirrored arrays with 700 gig of video on that was mirrored across things. So there was 1.5 terabytes of drives, all perfectly mirrored.
I think we... is it mini DV?
Yes.
I think we still have a mini DV camera back home.
That would be very convenient.
You'll have to
but
fire wire into something, but that seems easy.
Aid may or may not have one. I know he was doing something with them recently.
I've got the GTO engine bay here. Thank you, Aid.
But yes, so it took that over and basically called up TVR and went,
Right,
"You've done all this.
sponsorship on show.
You've done all this work." Yeah. See, there's not much insulation. It's just very
it's just
tightly
busy,
packed. It's horrendous. But yes, so he took this TVR over, and it was glorious, but it kept overheating, kept boiling out of the expansion, because the expansion tank is an aluminium tube right up the front of the engine with a fill cap on the top. And it's not much bigger. In fact, it's probably less in diameter than that.
Than a teacup, yeah.
But it stands this tall.
Yeah.
And
proper like swirl pot type of tank,
very thin,
which to be fair
very tall.
is really the ideal sort of format for these things. Yeah.
So he called up TVR and basically went, "You've done all of this work and it's overheating. It's not that it's overheating, it's just bubbling over, and I'm on track, and like I don't want to be putting water everywhere." Fair enough, perfectly reasonable thing. And the guy went, "How much water are you putting in?" It's like, "Well, I was filling it about halfway up. That seemed to be about where there was a line." It's like, "Oh no, that's way too much. No, put it all back together, take it out and spank it on track and just give it hell." He's like, "Oh, okay, fair enough." And I think he only filled it a quarter full, so it had a vast amount of expansion. And I think it was mostly being used as a swirl pot and just running down, getting the air out and going back through, so it didn't need that much liquid in.
Yeah.
It just needed expansion space.
Yeah.
And because it didn't have that, because it was too full, it was then expanding, overheating, and bubbling and bursting out. And that's what it was doing. It was actually quite impressive.
I will say TVR is one of the few companies that it actually seems like it was made by people who properly, 1, love their cars, 2, love cars in general, and 3, absolutely knew what they were about.
Well, it was even better than that, because when he called TVR up, he was speaking to the customer services department. The customer service department is in the factory. When he kept having this problem for sort of 2 days, they went, "Be back in a minute," went and got the engineer that rebuilt his engine and put him on the phone and went, "This guy's having a problem. Can you speak to him?" And he went, "Yes, I know your car. I understand that. Yes. No, don't do that. No, put it back together.
No, just
no,
beat the
go.
tits off it. Yeah.
Just beat it. Beat it like it owes you money." And that was it. And it worked perfectly fine. His biggest concern was not actually that it was overheating on track. It was that it would cause a failure and it would break.
Yeah.
Because he then had a trip over the Alps down into Italy directly from the Nürburgring immediately after we finished our trip. He was going on a lot further, so I was like, yeah, okay, fair enough. You maybe don't want to break it if you have a long extra holiday, I think, with his wife. I don't think he had his kids with him, but he definitely had his wife with him. And this was their summer holiday. So it's like, yay, I got to drive my car fast.
Yes.
Also, the rest of our holiday is cancelled because I broke the car.
I do very much love, though, that the official guidance from the engineer who built the engine was just send it.
Just send
give
it.
it.
Put it back together
Yeah.
and send it. So, yes, well, both Greg and Aid needs to come and do some story times in the studio here and record some, let me tell you a funny story, much like VinWikis, because they seem to do well, and I am not too proud to piggyback on their idea. So, yeah, that's what I want to do with that. Because I have many stories, like jumping a golf, and trying to make a ferry, and making it to the port in time, but not making it through customs in time, despite a pretty heroic effort that the statute of limitations has also expired on.
Nice.
So, yeah.
What is the statute of limitations on speeding offences?
I don't know, but
France?
they have to prove it. They have
Okay.
They can't use my evidence against me. They can't
Cool.
use evidence that I provide anecdotally against me.
Because I think one of my favourite little moments of Monte Carlo or Bust was doing 100 mile an hour toward the ferry terminal in the Nerd Herder, which I will try and dig some photos
I've
up.
got a couple of
in a
pictures
minute.
of that.
So we're doing 100 mile an hour down the motorway on the way to the ferry terminal. Now, the French apparently, I haven't verified this myself, thankfully, but apparently the French police really don't like British motorists in particular.
No, they don't.
There's something about us going over there, speeding around like dickheads,
Yes.
and then coming home and effectively being beyond punishment for decades.
Yes.
That still kind of rankles them.
Yeah.
So
And now they are
they
very
can,
much
yeah.
within punishment,
Yeah.
but they still have to
Yeah.
prove it.
So the problem is, the guy who was driving the car at the time had the great idea of, well, it's night time. We don't really want to be seen speeding like this, so I'm going to turn off all the lights. Now, okay, fine. There is a bit of ambient light around. I can't remember if it's like a full moon or something, but like we could see and everything. But I'm like, we're in the Nerd Herder. We're not disappearing. It was bright white and red. And it wasn't like gloss white where the darkness of night would bounce off it. It was matte white.
Yeah.
It was like industrial paint, so it was like really, really flat, which meant that because it was so diffuse, any light from anywhere was visible from everywhere.
Yes.
Like it illuminated the car like it was you know that like that retro reflective stuff that number plates are made of. It was like that. And there we were, hurtling down the motorway.
Oh,
How we didn't get pulled over, I don't know. It must just be because it was late and all the cops were on strike or something.
It's a good way to get away with things.
Yeah.
Yes, 100 miles. Yeah, pretty much. That's how my story went. I've never had.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, granted, the herder was a little 1.8. It didn't really know how
Yeah.
to do much more than 100.
I-
but I know your story.
Yeah,
And yes.
the two hardest drives I've ever done. One was getting to that ferry at pace through both Belgium and France in a lot less time than it should have taken, and the other one was doing 10 miles an hour through dry riverbeds, because we decided that cutting across through this road that totally exists, it's on Google Maps, it goes all the way from one highway to the other, on the way up to Phoenix, perfect, absolutely fine. As you get up to it and there's a turn-off, the turn-off was just bushes,
I
and
found
you
the herder,
couldn't
by the
really
way.
see it. So there was no way, and we basically went all the way up and then got forced around off tarmac roads, through a village in the middle of nowhere, around, and I've plotted the route on Google Maps through the desert on all of the road, and going, I went through that lake bed, I've probably got pictures of that one, and that one, and that one, all the way as we go through, but it was down 45 degrees, a long flat, and then up, almost in the length of the car, and it's a rental that specifically says, do not take this off-road under pain of death. Okay.
Womp womp.
Sean was driving originally, and after a while, he was suffering a bit, and I went,
Which Sean Bulbrook?
yeah.
Oh,
He's
wow.
like, would you like me to take over? He's like, maybe. Maybe that might be for the best. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. So I started just trundling through, but yeah, that was the other one, because instead of taking what we estimated to be about an hour to an hour and a half, I think it took 5.
Oh dear.
And the problem was, it took us 5 hours to go up and around and join the same road that we left, that we then had to drive back up parallel to, up to the highway, across, then get to Phoenix. We weren't staying in Phoenix, we were still south of the interstate. Then we had to get through Phoenix, round its big silly ring road, all the way up to Flagstaff to where we were staying. We got there about 1 a.m.
Flagstaff was nice. Did you like it there?
Flagstaff's lovely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely love Flagstaff.
It
Yeah.
was chilly, but I did actually quite like it.
Yes.
I wouldn't
So
want
this-
to live there.
This
but-
was the other fun one. We went from Kit Peak Mountain, which is about 6,000 feet.
Yeah.
We went all the way down into the bottom of the valley. So it was cold, but not snowing.
Yeah.
We went all the way down into the valley through Phoenix, all the way up at night. We climbed the mountain up to Flagstaff, where it's about 6,000 feet,
and it was higher than that.
And it was snowing.
Yeah.
And then we went down the other side from Flagstaff towards the Grand Canyon, got to about 4,500 feet, trundled along, got to the Grand Canyon, about 6,000 feet, where it is not snowing but is still snow on the ground and blazing sunshine and 0 degrees Celsius.
Nothing makes sense.
You're like, I was at 6,000 feet before, middle, and after, and the weather has gone from
to snow.
I can bear shorts and t-shirt, but it's on the edge. To no, it's literally snowing and it's below 0. To it's sunny, and if it wasn't for the 40-mile-an-hour wind, I could probably get away with being in shorts
just
for a little
because
while.
the sun was that.
Just because the sun was. As soon as you went in the shade, horrendous.
Yeah.
But the Grand Canyon had sun hitting it, obviously on the north side, coming down that way, completely bare.
Yeah.
Everywhere in shadow, sheets of snow. So you look down, because we were at the bend where it goes around, so looking down it that way, you had sunshine and rock, and then shade and snow at the same time. It was really, really, really weird to see. And
I drove across the Mojave Desert, it was just torrential rain and flooding.
Ah, yes, that famous desert. Yeah. The Mojave Lake.
I've got a picture of the herder, by the way. This is the car that we were attempting to do like silent running in.
Yes.
Not gonna lie, there are better cars to do that.
And the thing is, considering that car cost you, what, £165?
£153 and some change, if I remember
150.
right.
Oh, no, that was it. It did 16,500 miles.
Give or take, yeah.
So it cost you less than a penny per mile for all of those miles.
Yeah, never put oil in it, never did the brakes on it.
And you scrapped it.
I scrapped it
and got, I
for
think,
more than I spent on it.
Yeah.
I got 160 quid for scrap.
Yeah.
After
No, it was less carriage.
Was it less carriage?
Yeah, it was 80 quid for them to come and pick it up and take it back, and to drain some of the fluids out of it. And
I could
other
swear
bits
I
and
got
pieces.
transferred like 160 odd quid.
Oh, really?
I could swear.
Okay, that's hilarious.
Because like the big memory I've got is holy shit, that's more than I paid for it.
Maybe, yeah.
Because scrap was expensive at the time. Maybe it was 240 quid of scrap.
What I remember is having to jump it.
Oh god, yes, I remember this. Yeah.
I had to
I
jump
was at work that day when it got collected.
I had to jump it with speaker cable. And I say speaker cable like I'm using bell wire.
It was like sub cable or something. Was it bell wire?
It wasn't bell wire. It was sub cable.
Right,
but
okay.
yeah, I literally had to put a battery on it and then attach it from the terminal on. And the guy just looked at me like,
of course, because I'd robbed the earth strap, hadn't I, for the rover?
For the rover, so it had no earth strap.
Yeah, so you had to earth the battery to...
It had positive to battery, but it didn't have an earth strap to go over. And you're just like, this is the worst thing. I'm earthing with a piece of speaker cable from a battery to the body.
Yep.
It was...
I do feel bad for scrapping that car though, because it was such a good car.
It was the worst thing I've ever done.
It never let me down. Nothing ever was bad on it. Like every time I could trust 100%. I put that goofy card key thing in the weird little slot in it.
Because it's a Renault.
Always work.
So it obviously has the most inconvenient
the
key
Zoe's got
ever.
The same. The Zoe, at least you don't have to like slot load it. You can just have it in the car and it's fine.
I got a hire van for work, and shit you not, it was 70% the size of my phone, and it only had 2 tiny little buttons on it. That was it. It was the worst thing. It was the most awkward thing to carry as well. You couldn't put it in a pocket. It didn't fit anywhere.
What is this for? Why is that?
Yeah. I think the van one was
than one for your
actually
van
slightly
by the sound of it.
bigger.
Yeah.
And it was the other weird one. You'd think this is a perfectly normal thing you would have in a van. Okay, maybe not in size, but just it's black, it's plastic, whatever. No. This one was anodized blue. Actually, no, it was like it was a blue metallic film cover over most of it, and it was thicker than it. And you look at it and go, this is not a van key. This is a van key, black. Plastic.
Plain,
it does the job.
utilitarian,
it's plain.
yeah.
But no, it just...
I just don't know why this has to exist. Like,
I'm going to have to see if I can find
it. It has a key in it, which is fine, like whatever. Keys are cool, but why? Anyway, that's me done being a Luddite for now. But yeah,
gonna
no,
try-
the
I'm
herder was just too good, man.
I'm
That
gonna-
car never let me down.
I'm going to try and find this picture, and then I think we're going to have to call it before I get angry about car
I will say,
keys.
final note on the herder. For all of the 16,000-ish miles that I drove it, the CV joint was ticking at me. Which, after I'd done a few thousand miles, was fine. But, considering I'd never really driven it other than like to the office and back, which is like a 3-minute drive. I'd only driven it a tiny, tiny amount. And then we drove it to the south of France. And we're driving over the Alps, going around a corner, and the CV joint's going tick, 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 at us. And we were not sure it was going to make it, but it made it. It made it all the way to Nice. It made it all the way back to Amsterdam. It made the cannonball run to the ferry. And it then just drove everywhere for like another 11,000 miles or something. It's unbelievable how good that car was.
I got pulled over by the police in convoy in the Gulf with a heavily ticking CV joint.
Yeah.
And it didn't make it. It made it as far as the line to get on the ferry, and I was towed onto the ferry.
I remember you saying, yeah.
And the CV joint exploded ball bearings all across the ferry terminal. Which
car was that?
That was the Gulf.
Oh,
and that,
honestly, Gulf CV joints, man.
Yeah. And that CV joint lasted. It wasn't ticking on track the night before. It got to the hotel. It was ticking a little bit in the morning. And we went, oh, it should make it back. It's only just starting to knock. And coming down through all the twisties out of Nürburg out towards the autobahns, it was getting worse and worse and worse. And every junction we went round, it was...
Oh. It's when it's getting worse that you know something's wrong.
Yeah. That's another story that I need to put in...
apparently we have to re-chat. So I've had that picture of the herder full screen because it's up on the telly. I didn't want to put the stream on
White has very conveniently found the picture for me that I put into chat.
Oh, cool.
Into our...
Oh, is that in Discord?
Yeah, I have it here. Oh, yeah, there you go. You've got it now. Yeah. So
that is very, very extra for a...
Pass me yours.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty certain that one is bigger.
Yeah.
Because if it's there... Yeah, that one actually comes
It's
further
not all
across
that
to
far
that
off, but
crease
yeah.
line. It's about 25% larger than this.
Yeah.
And it's thicker.
That does
So
not-
whereas that is like a thick credit card, that's A, bigger than a credit card, and B, it's a 1/4 of an inch thick.
Bloody hell.
And then has a stupid toggle on the bottom. That is, yeah. That's, yes.
Right. On the subject of keys, though, as much as I don't like the card form factor, there is one button on here that I love. There's a little fan button, and when I press it, it just turns on the aircon on maximum cool.
Okay, that's quite
That
cool.
is really quite nice.
That's got a lot of pleasantness.
It's one of the upsides, I guess, you know, being an
The
electric
upside of an
vehicle,
electric,
obviously, you don't have to, like, actually run the engine to do this.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Oh well, right. Well, we have done a fairly sterling job, clocking 2.5 hours at this point. So I'm going to thank all of you who have managed to stick it out this far. Well done. And we might have a Binks trying to invade us right as we do our outs. Yeah, if you haven't already, check out shop.pedalbox.show where you can buy merch like the stuff I'm not wearing, but Chris does have in front of him.
An empty PedalBox mug, out of which I've had no tea.
Not a single
Unacceptable.
bit.
That's the main reason we have to end the stream, is so I can go get a long overdue brew.
And if you do want to buy any of the merch, go to Patreon first. Join us as a Patreon. You'll get discount on anything you buy out of that. So that is the best way to do it. Also, I'm assuming if you've seen this, stayed on this long, you've already liked, well, you've definitely commented because you've been chatting away, and you're subscribed to the channel already. So, yeah, I don't really think there's a lot else for us to say other than thanks for joining us. And I guess we'll see you in, well, I'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. You'll see them in, what, 4?
Month-ish?
Yeah, give or take. So, cool. Thanks very much for dropping by. Thanks to Emmy for sorting out all of our sound. Thanks to Jess for vision mixing and providing a wealth of equipment so that we might play around more and fixing all of my technical problems that are just beyond me because I come in and go, oh, I can't do this. So yeah, this is why the quality has gone up a little bit on our streams. I thought you were going to say bye there.
I thought about it, but I didn't know if you were going to shut up for the first time.
Right. See you later, guys.
All right. Thanks for watching, everyone.